Chapter 1: The Engineering Marvel of Baalbek. Picture yourself standing in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley as the first rays of dawn illuminate the ancient ruins of Baalbek. The morning mist clings to colossal stone blocks that have challenged engineers and archaeologists for generations. Here, where Romans built magnificent temples to Jupiter, lies evidence of construction techniques that continue to push the boundaries of our understanding about ancient capabilities. The rising sun catches the towering columns of the Temple of Jupiter, each standing like stone sentinels against the Lebanese sky. But your attention is drawn to the foundation beneath these Roman marvels, where three enormous limestone blocks form part of an ancient retaining wall. These are the famous trilithon stones, representing one of archaeology's most fascinating engineering achievements. Each megalithic block measures approximately 19 metres long, 4 metres high, and 3 metres wide. Conservative estimates place their weight between 750 and 800 tons each, roughly equivalent to 500 modern automobiles stacked together. They rest approximately 20 feet above ground level, fitted together with precision that would challenge modern construction techniques. The quarry lies about a quarter mile from the construction site, where an even larger stone remains partially carved from the living bedrock. Known as Hajar al-Hibla, or the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, this unfinished megalith weighs an estimated 1,000 tons, demonstrating the ambitious scale of the original builder's plans. Archaeological evidence suggests multiple construction phases at Baalbek spanning centuries. While Roman architects and engineers left extensive records of their building techniques throughout the empire, the specific methods used for moving and positioning these particular megaliths remain unclear. The Romans were master engineers who documented their techniques in treatises that survive today, yet they left no detailed records of how these specific stones were handled. Modern engineering makes moving such masses possible, but extraordinarily challenging. Today's largest mobile cranes can lift approximately 1,200 tons under optimal conditions, requiring extensive setup, perfectly level ground, and ideal weather. The logistics of quarrying, transporting, and precisely positioning 800-ton blocks using ancient technology represents a remarkable feat of planning and execution. Various theories have been proposed to explain the construction methods. Some researchers suggest the use of massive wooden rollers combined with sophisticated ramp systems, similar to techniques documented at other ancient construction sites. The winter transport theory proposes that stones were moved during colder months when ground conditions were more stable, using coordinated teams of thousands of workers. Recent archaeological investigations by German research teams have uncovered compelling evidence of ancient infrastructure supporting the stone transport operation. Remnants of prepared roadways have been identified between the quarry and construction site, along with what appear to be specially reinforced surfaces designed to bear enormous loads. Ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed additional subsurface features that may represent preparation work for the megalith placement. These discoveries suggest systematic engineering approaches that required careful advanced planning and sophisticated understanding of load distribution and structural support. The precision of stone placement raises additional questions about ancient surveying and measurement capabilities. The trilithon blocks fit together with minimal gaps, their massive surfaces meeting with accuracy measured in millimeters rather than centimeters. This level of precision requires not just the ability to move enormous stones, but to control their placement with remarkable exactitude. Computer modelling has explored various scenarios for the construction process. Finite element analysis suggests that wooden roller systems, while theoretically possible, would have required timber resources on an enormous scale. Alternative proposals involving sledge systems and coordinated human labour present different logistical challenges but remain within the realm of ancient technological capability. The social organisation required for such construction presents its own fascinating questions. Moving 800-ton blocks requires not just engineering knowledge, but complex project management, resource coordination, and social systems capable of organising and sustaining large labour forces over extended periods. Recent analysis of tool marks and surface features provides additional clues about construction techniques. Microscopic examination reveals evidence of bronze and iron tools used in the quarrying process, while surface analysis shows traces of wooden implements used during transport and positioning operations. The site continues yielding new insights as archaeological research progresses. Advanced survey techniques reveal previously unknown features of the ancient construction. while careful documentation of existing structures provides data for engineering analyses that help us understand the capabilities required for such remarkable achievements. What makes Baalbek particularly significant isn't just the size of the stones, but what their successful placement tells us about ancient organizational and technical capabilities. The coordination required represents a sophisticated understanding of physics, engineering, and human resource management that challenges simplistic assumptions about ancient technological limitations. The mystery of Baalbek isn't a gap requiring supernatural explanation, but rather evidence of human problem-solving abilities that enabled our ancestors to overcome seemingly impossible challenges through careful planning, technical innovation, and remarkable coordination of human effort. Isotope analysis of the limestone has confirmed that all the major blocks came from the same local quarry, eliminating theories about long-distance transport from other regions. Chemical analysis of mortar traces provides insights into ancient binding techniques used to secure the massive stones in their precise positions. Recent excavations have uncovered worker housing areas and tool workshops associated with the construction phases, providing glimpses into the daily lives of the people who accomplished this remarkable feat. Pottery fragments, tool remnants, and food remains paint a picture of a major construction project that required sustained effort from hundreds or thousands of skilled workers. The engineering challenges involved in moving stones of this magnitude continue to inspire modern research. Contemporary engineers studying the Baalbek megaliths have developed new insights into ancient construction techniques, while also advancing modern understanding of heavy lifting and precise positioning methods. As we stand among these ancient giants in the pre-dawn silence, we witness testament to human ingenuity and determination. The mystery lies not in supernatural intervention, but in the specific practical techniques that enabled our ancestors to achieve what still seems nearly impossible today. Chapter 2: Göbekli Tepe, Rewriting Human History. Imagine approaching the windswept hills of southeastern Turkey as dawn breaks over the Anatolian plateau. Here at Göbekli Tepe, meaning Belly Hill in Turkish, lies a discovery that has revolutionized our understanding of early human civilization and challenged fundamental assumptions about the development of complex society. The ancient site emerges from morning mist like a stone garden of giants. Massive T-shaped limestone pillars, some weighing up to 16 tons and standing 18 feet tall, are arranged in precise circular formations. These monoliths bear intricate relief carvings that seem to dance across their surfaces. Lions stalking in eternal hunts, wild boars with curved tusks, serpents coiling around pillar bases, and vultures spreading wings that span the width of the stones. Radiocarbon dating places the earliest construction phases at approximately 9,500 BCE, making Göbekli Tepe roughly 6,000 years older than Stonehenge and 7,000 years older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. This extraordinary age carries profound implications for understanding human social development and technological capability. The traditional archaeological narrative suggested a clear progression. Agriculture led to permanent settlements, which eventually provided the surplus resources necessary for monumental architecture. Göbekli Tepe appears to completely reverse this sequence, suggesting that the desire to create large-scale ceremonial centres may have actually driven agricultural development rather than resulting from it. When Göbekli Tepe was constructed, archaeological evidence indicates the builders were primarily hunter-gatherers. Domesticated grains and livestock wouldn't appear in this region for another 1,000 years. Yet these mobile peoples somehow organised themselves to quarry, transport, and erect massive stone monuments, requiring unprecedented levels of planning, coordination, and sustained community effort. The excavation project, initiated by German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt in 1995 and continued by his successors after his death in 2014, has revealed layer upon layer of construction spanning thousands of years. Remarkably, the oldest structures are the most sophisticated and elaborate, with simpler constructions built on top over subsequent millennia, another puzzling inversion of expected technological development patterns. Ground-penetrating radar surveys suggest that excavated areas represent only a small fraction of the total site. Current estimates indicate there may be up to 20 additional circular structures still buried beneath accumulated soil and debris, potentially containing decades worth of discoveries that could further transform our understanding of early human capabilities. The animal reliefs themselves present fascinating questions about the symbolic and intellectual world of these early monument builders. The carvings show creatures from across the broader region, not just local fauna, suggesting either extensive travel and observation or sophisticated communication networks among widely scattered hunter-gatherer groups. Analysis of the carving techniques reveals sophisticated stoneworking skills and artistic traditions. The relief work shows consistent stylistic approaches and technical methods, suggesting established craftsman traditions and specialized knowledge passed down through generations of builders. Tool marks indicate the use of flint implements specifically designed for detailed carving work. The precision of construction demonstrates advanced understanding of geometry and architectural planning. The circular arrangements show careful measurement and layout, while the T-shaped pillars are carved with remarkably consistent proportions and decorative elements. This standardization suggests sophisticated design principles and quality control over extended construction periods. Perhaps most mysteriously, around 8000 BCE, the entire complex was deliberately buried under carefully placed tons of soil and stone fill. Unlike archaeological sites that were gradually abandoned and naturally covered over time, Göbekli Tepe shows unmistakable evidence of intentional concealment. The builders invested enormous effort to completely hide their creation, leaving us to wonder about their motivations for this dramatic act. Recent paleoecological research has reconstructed the ancient environment around Göbekli Tepe, revealing a landscape far more hospitable than today's semi-arid conditions. During the site's construction period, the region featured oak forests, grasslands, and abundant wildlife that could have supported large gatherings of people for extended periods. Chemical analysis of soil samples from the site has revealed evidence of feasting activities on a massive scale. Residues from cooking fires, along with accumulated bones from wild animals, suggest that Göbekli Tepe served as a gathering place for large groups who came together for ceremonial activities involving communal meals and ritual practices. The astronomical alignments of various structures add another layer of sophistication to the site's design. Several pillars and stone arrangements appear oriented toward specific celestial events, suggesting that the builders possessed advanced knowledge of astronomical cycles and incorporated this understanding into their architectural planning. Water management systems discovered at the site indicate careful provision for supporting large populations during construction and ceremonial activities. Channels carved into bedrock and cistern-like structures demonstrate that the builders understood the logistical requirements for maintaining substantial gatherings in this semi-arid environment. The social implications of Göbekli Tepe's construction challenge traditional models of hunter-gatherer society organization. The coordination required suggests hierarchical leadership structures, specialized roles, and decision-making systems capable of planning and executing multi-generational construction projects involving hundreds or thousands of participants. Tool assemblages found at the site demonstrate sophisticated lithic technology adapted for specific construction and carving tasks. Specialized flint tools show evidence of systematic production methods and quality control, suggesting organized workshops and skilled craftsmen dedicated to monument construction, rather than just subsistence activities. Genetic studies of ancient plant remains found at Göbekli Tepe provide insights into early agricultural experimentation. Wild grain varieties show evidence of human selection and management that may represent the earlier stages of plant domestication, supporting theories that monument construction drove agricultural innovation rather than resulting from it. The site's influence appears to have extended far beyond its immediate vicinity. Similar architectural elements and artistic motifs appear at other contemporary sites across the region, suggesting that Göbekli Tepe served as a cultural center that influenced development across a wide geographical area during the Neolithic transition. Preservation efforts at the site employ cutting-edge conservation techniques to protect the ancient structures from environmental damage while allowing continued excavation and research. Advanced documentation methods create detailed three-dimensional records of each structure and artifact, ensuring that information is preserved even as excavation necessarily destroys original contexts. Recent discoveries include previously unknown pillar configurations and architectural features that continue to expand our understanding of the site's complexity and sophistication. Each excavation season reveals new aspects of the builders' capabilities, while raising additional questions about their society and motivations. The enigma of why such a sophisticated complex was deliberately buried remains one of archaeology's most intriguing puzzles. Various theories propose climate change, social upheaval, or religious transformation as possible explanations, but the specific motivations of the builders remain elusive, hidden beneath thousands of years of accumulated soil. As we stand among these ancient pillars in the quiet of early morning, we're confronted with evidence that fundamentally challenges our understanding of human social development. Göbekli Tepe demonstrates that our ancestors possessed capabilities for organisation, planning, and artistic achievement that we're still working to comprehend fully. Chapter 3: The Piri-Reis Map Cartographic Mystery. Transport yourself to the bustling maritime capital of Constantinople in 1513, where the sounds of shipbuilding mingle with merchants' calls and the scratch of quills on parchment. In the workshops of the Ottoman fleet, Admiral Piri-Reis creates what will become one of history's most debated cartographic documents, a map that continues to puzzle historians and geographers 5 centuries after its creation. The chart, meticulously drawn on gazelle skin parchment with vibrant pigments and detailed annotations, represents a masterwork of early 16th century cartography. It depicts substantial portions of the Atlantic Ocean with remarkable accuracy, showing the western coast of Africa, East and South America, and various Atlantic islands with precision rivaling modern navigational charts. What makes this document extraordinary isn't just its accuracy, but its documented sources. Piri-Reis wrote directly on the map, providing unprecedented insight into the geographic knowledge available in the early 16th century. He states that he compiled information from approximately 20 different maps, including charts captured from Spanish vessels, a map reportedly used by Christopher Columbus, and various older Mediterranean and Islamic charts dating back several centuries. The accuracy of known coastlines is genuinely impressive for its historical period. The South American eastern seaboard, based on Spanish and Portuguese explorations conducted mere decades earlier, displays remarkable detail and correctness. Caribbean islands appear in proper relative positions, while the African coastline demonstrates knowledge that could only have come from extensive maritime exploration and careful observation. The cartographic projection employed shows sophisticated understanding of the mathematical challenges involved in representing the spherical Earth on flat surfaces. The map accounts for global curvature in ways that many contemporary European charts did not, suggesting access to advanced geometric and cartographic knowledge developed through Islamic mathematical traditions. However, the map's southern portion contains features that have generated considerable scholarly debate. The chart depicts what appears to be landmass positioned roughly where Antarctica exists, though this continent wasn't officially discovered until 1820. This has led to extensive speculation about possible sources for such geographic information. Careful analysis by cartographic historians reveals important details about this southern territory. The depicted coastline doesn't actually correspond to Antarctica's true geography, even accounting for different projections, orientations, or ice-free conditions. Instead, the shown landmass appears to represent a southern extension of South America, possibly incorporating early, incomplete knowledge of the continent's complex southern reaches. Medieval and Renaissance cartographic traditions often included theoretical landmasses based on classical geographic theories inherited from ancient scholars. Ptolemy and other Greco-Roman geographers proposed that large southern continents must exist to balance northern hemisphere landmasses, a concept called terra australis incognita, meaning the unknown southern land. Maps from this period frequently featured such hypothetical continents, often connected to known territories or positioned where theoretical geography suggested they should logically exist. The Piri-Reis map's southern features fit this established pattern of speculative geography rather than representing actual exploration data or mysterious advanced knowledge. Additional elements on the map correspond to mythical locations from medieval geographic traditions, alongside coastal features that appear to be theoretical extensions of partially explored regions. These components demonstrate the challenges faced by early cartographers working with incomplete information from diverse and sometimes unreliable sources. Recent scholarly research suggests the southern landmass likely represents a combination of distorted information about South America's southern extremities, possibly including early reports of Tierra del Fuego, mixed with theoretical geographic concepts about necessary continental balance required by classical geographic theory. This interpretation doesn't diminish the map's remarkable historical significance. The Piri-Reis chart stands as extraordinary evidence of sophisticated Ottoman cartographic capabilities and demonstrates the truly global circulation of geographic knowledge during the early 16th century. It shows how information from Spanish, Portuguese, Islamic, and even earlier sources could be synthesized into highly accurate navigational aids. The document illustrates the international character of Renaissance geographic knowledge, where information flowed along extensive trade networks and through diplomatic channels, creating global intelligence networks that transcended political and cultural boundaries. The Ottoman Empire, with vast Mediterranean trade connections, was ideally positioned to collect and synthesize such diverse geographic data. Technical analysis of the map's construction reveals sophisticated drafting techniques and remarkable attention to detail, marking it as work of highly skilled professional cartographers. Consistent scaling, precise lettering, and accurate placement of geographic features demonstrate master-level map-making capabilities supported by advanced mathematical knowledge. The map's survival represents extraordinary historical fortune. Created on organic materials and subject to hazards of warfare, fire, and neglect, most contemporary charts from this period have been lost to time. The Piri Reis map's preservation in the Topkapi Palace Library provides modern researchers with invaluable insights into Renaissance cartographic knowledge and techniques. Contemporary Ottoman historical sources reveal that Piri Reis was not merely a naval commander, but also an accomplished scholar and author who wrote extensively about navigation and geography. His major work, the Kitab-ul-Bahriyeh, Book of Navigation, demonstrates comprehensive knowledge of Mediterranean geography and advanced sailing techniques, establishing his credentials as serious student of cartographic science. Linguistic analysis of the map's annotations provides insights into 16th century Ottoman geographic vocabulary and conceptual frameworks. The terminology used reflects sophisticated understanding of maritime navigation, coastal description, and geographic classification systems that had evolved through centuries of Islamic scholarly tradition. The chart continues providing insights into global information exchange during the Age of Exploration. Each annotation and geographic feature represents knowledge gained through dangerous voyages, careful observation, and gradual accumulation of human understanding about our planet's true configuration and continental arrangements. Comparative analysis with other contemporary maps reveals both the unique features of the Piri Reis chart and its place within broader cartographic traditions of the period. While certain elements are distinctively Ottoman, many features reflect shared geographic knowledge circulating throughout Mediterranean maritime communities. Modern digital analysis techniques have enabled unprecedented detailed study of the map's construction methods, pigment composition, and underlying geometric frameworks. These investigations continue revealing new aspects of 16th century cartographic techniques while confirming the document's authenticity and historical context. The map's influence extended beyond its immediate practical applications for Ottoman naval operations. Copies and derivative works spread throughout Mediterranean maritime communities, contributing to the gradual improvement of navigational accuracy that characterized the Age of Exploration's advancing geographic knowledge. Recent archival research has uncovered additional contemporary references to similar cartographic projects, suggesting that the Piri Reis map represents one surviving example of much broader Ottoman efforts to compile and synthesize global geographic information for strategic and commercial purposes. As we examine this remarkable chart by flickering lamplight in an Ottoman archive, we witness humanity's relentless drive to understand and accurately map our world. The Piri Reis map stands as testament to the skill, ambition, and international collaboration that characterized early cartographers who combined available knowledge to create increasingly precise representations of our planet's true geography. Chapter 4: The Indus Valley Script Voices in Stone. Picture yourself walking through the ruins of Harappa as evening light slants across the Punjab plain, illuminating the remains of one of the world's first great urban civilizations. Here, among sophisticated street grids and advanced drainage systems, lie thousands of small inscriptions representing one of archaeology's most persistent puzzles, a complete writing system that remains utterly silent to modern understanding. The Indus Valley civilization, flourishing from approximately 3,300 to 1,300 BCE, encompassed over 1,500 known sites across present-day Pakistan and northwest India. At its height, this Bronze Age civilization supported an estimated population exceeding 5 million people, making it among the largest ancient civilizations in global history. The material achievements of Harappan society demonstrate remarkable sophistication. They constructed cities with advanced urban planning, including comprehensive sewerage systems, standardized brick dimensions used across vast distances, and extensive trade networks reaching from Central Asia to Gujarat. Yet despite these obvious indicators of administrative complexity, we cannot decipher a single word they wrote. The Indus script appears on thousands of artifacts including seals, pottery vessels, copper tablets, and carved ivory objects, but remains completely undeciphered after more than a century of scholarly effort. The writing system consists of approximately 400 to 600 distinct symbols, though exact counts vary depending on how researchers categorize sign variants and compound combinations. Individual inscriptions are tantalizingly brief. Most contain only 4 to 5 symbols, with the longest known example containing merely 26 signs. This brevity presents fundamental challenges for decipherment efforts, since most successfully decoded ancient scripts required substantial texts, particularly bilingual inscriptions providing bridges between known and unknown languages. Decipherment attempts have pursued numerous methodological approaches over the past century. Some researchers have sought connections to Sanskrit and other Indo-European languages, while others have explored relationships with Dravidian language families still spoken in southern India. Statistical analysis has searched for patterns in symbol frequency and distribution that might reveal underlying grammatical structures. Finnish scholar Asko Parpala has devoted decades developing systematic connections between the script and Proto-Dravidian linguistic traditions. His comprehensive research has proposed phonetic values for numerous symbols and identified potential meanings for recurring sign combinations, particularly those relating to trade terminology, administrative concepts, and religious practices documented in later South Asian cultural traditions. Advanced computational analysis has brought sophisticated tools to bear on decipherment challenges. Research teams at major universities have employed statistical methods to study mathematical properties of the script, comparing symbol patterns with those found in natural languages versus non-linguistic notation systems like modern corporate logos or traffic signs. These analytical studies suggest that Indus inscriptions follow statistical distributions consistent with true linguistic writing systems rather than purely symbolic or administrative notation. Symbol frequency patterns and combinatorial relationships show properties similar to deciphered scripts, supporting interpretations of Indus signs as representing actual spoken language rather than just commercial or religious symbols. However, significant debates continue regarding whether the Indus symbols constitute complete writing systems capable of recording speech or represent more limited notation used for specific administrative, commercial, or ceremonial purposes. Short inscription lengths and certain repetitive patterns have led some researchers to propose restricted functional interpretations. Archaeological context provides crucial insights into script usage patterns. Many inscriptions appear on seals clearly used for administrative purposes, likely marking ownership of goods or authenticating commercial transactions. The widespread distribution of similar symbols across the civilization's territory suggests standardized systems understood throughout Harappan society. Geometric sophistication evident in symbol design indicates advanced conceptual thinking about visual communication. Some signs appear pictographic, representing humans, animals, or objects, while others display abstract geometric complexity. This combination of representational and abstract elements resembles developmental patterns observed in other early writing systems. Recent archaeological discoveries continue adding new inscriptions to the available corpus, though fundamental decipherment challenges remain unchanged. Without bilingual texts comparable to the Rosetta Stone that unlocked Egyptian hieroglyphs, or clear connections to documented languages, the Indus script maintains its secrets across 4 millennia. The script's resistance to decipherment is compounded by limited understanding of Harappan society itself. Unlike contemporary Mesopotamian and Egyptian civilizations, Indus Valley sites show minimal evidence of monumental royal architecture, obvious military installations, or clear social stratification, making it difficult to infer what types of information their writing system was designed to preserve. Archaeological evidence suggests remarkably peaceful and egalitarian Harappan society, at least compared to other Bronze Age civilizations. This social organization raises questions about the content likely recorded in their written documents, since typical aids to script decipherment, royal proclamations, military accounts, religious texts, appear largely absent from Harappan material culture. Ongoing excavations continue uncovering additional script examples, each potentially containing clues that might advance decipherment efforts. Advanced imaging techniques enable detailed study of worn or damaged inscriptions, while new analytical methods reveal previously unnoticed patterns in existing textual collections. The civilization's apparent decline around 1900 BCE adds another layer of mystery to script studies. Whether due to climate change, hydrological alterations, or other environmental factors, the abandonment of major Harappan urban centres eliminated cultural continuity that might have preserved knowledge of writing system meanings and usage. Recent interdisciplinary approaches have integrated linguistic analysis with archaeological, anthropological, and environmental research to develop more comprehensive understanding of Harappan society and potential script functions. These holistic methods consider social context, economic systems, and cultural practices that might illuminate writing system purposes. Isotope analysis of Harappan artifacts has revealed extensive trade networks and population movements that may have influenced script development and usage. Chemical fingerprinting of materials shows connections between distant sites, suggesting communication needs that sophisticated writing systems could have served. Comparative analysis with other early writing systems provides insights into possible developmental patterns and functional applications. Studies of Mesopotamian cuneiform, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and Chinese characters reveal common features that might illuminate Indus script characteristics and potential decipherment approaches. Digital humanities projects are creating comprehensive databases of all known Indus inscriptions, enabling sophisticated computational analysis and pattern recognition that might reveal previously unnoticed structural relationships. These technological approaches complement traditional philological methods with new analytical capabilities. The mystery extends beyond individual symbol meanings to encompass broader questions about information storage and transmission in early urban societies. The Indus script represents one of humanity's earliest experiments in systematic written communication, offering insights into cognitive and social developments that enabled complex civilization. Climate and environmental research has reconstructed ancient Indus Valley conditions, revealing how environmental changes might have affected social organization and communication needs. Understanding ecological context helps illuminate potential pressures and opportunities that influence script development and usage patterns. As we stand among Harappa's ruins in gathering twilight, surrounded by remnants of sophisticated urban civilization, we're reminded how much human knowledge has vanished across time. The Indus Valley script represents thousands of individual voices, merchants recording transactions, administrators maintaining records, artisans marking products, all rendered silent by our continuing inability to understand their written language. Current decipherment efforts represent some of archaeology's most challenging intellectual puzzles, requiring expertise spanning linguistics, computer science, archaeology, anthropology, and statistical analysis. Each new analytical approach brings possibilities for finally hearing those ancient voices speak across 4 millennia of silence. Chapter 5: The Nazca Lines, Earth's Greatest Canvas. Envision yourself soaring high above the arid Nazca Plateau of southern Peru, where endless desert stretches toward distant Andean peaks. Below you, etched into the earth with geometric precision spanning nearly 200 square miles, lies one of archaeology's most spectacular achievements, a vast collection of lines, shapes, and figures that transforms the landscape itself into humanity's largest artistic canvas. The Nazca Lines, created by the Nazca culture between 500 BCE and 500 CE, encompass over 800 straight lines, 300 geometric figures, and 70 elaborate animal and plant designs. These remarkable geoglyphs were created using elegantly simple techniques, carefully removing dark iron oxide-coated surface stones to reveal lighter-coloured earth beneath, creating contrast visible from great distances. The scale of these earthworks defies easy comprehension. Linear geoglyphs extend over 30 miles with laser-straight precision across valleys and hills. Geometric shapes include triangles, rectangles, and trapezoids covering multiple acres each. The famous animal figures showcase sophisticated artistic understanding. A hummingbird with 93-foot wingspan, a spider stretching 150 feet, and a monkey with coiled tail spanning 135 feet. What makes these geoglyphs particularly intriguing is their optimal viewing perspective. While smaller figures can be appreciated from nearby hillsides, the largest designs achieve full visual impact only when observed from altitudes of several hundred feet or higher. This aerial perspective has generated decades of scholarly debate about intended audiences and purposes. Construction precision across vast distances demonstrates remarkable surveying capabilities and systematic engineering approaches. Many straight lines maintain accuracy within mere feet over miles of challenging terrain, suggesting sophisticated methods for planning and executing large-scale ground projects that required mathematical understanding and careful measurement techniques. Dr. Maria Reicher, the German mathematician who devoted her life to studying the lines beginning in the 1940s, documented extensive astronomical alignments throughout the geoglyph collection. Her meticulous research revealed that numerous lines point towards significant celestial events, including solstice and equinox positions, along with rising points of prominent stars and constellations. These astronomical connections provide compelling evidence for interpreting the lines as components of an enormous astronomical calendar system. The Nazca culture, like other ancient Andean societies, depended heavily on astronomical observations for agricultural timing, religious ceremonies, and social organization. The desert geoglyphs may have served as permanent celestial markers, crucial for their survival. Contemporary archaeological research led by Peruvian archaeologist Johnny Isla has systematically expanded understanding through careful excavation and comprehensive mapping projects. His team has documented over 1,000 individual geoglyphs, including numerous previously unknown smaller figures that demonstrate the full scope of Nazca ground art traditions. Detailed analysis of pottery sherds, textile fragments, and other cultural materials found at geoglyph sites helps establish construction chronologies and understand broader cultural contexts of different design phases. Radiocarbon dating of organic materials associated with specific lines confirms their creation during established Nazca cultural periods. The remarkable preservation of these ancient artworks results from unique environmental conditions characterizing the Nazca region. Annual rainfall averages less than 1 inch, while virtual absence of vegetation means minimal natural disturbance to ground surfaces. Dark desert pavement of surface stones creates protective layers preserving lighter subsurface soils when undisturbed by human activity. Water appears as a central thematic element connecting many geoglyphs to essential Nazca survival requirements. Several animal figures represent creatures associated with water and rainfall in traditional Andean mythology and religious systems. Many linear geoglyphs point toward water sources in surrounding mountain ranges, while others align with underground water channels that Nazca engineers tapped through sophisticated Puquios irrigation systems. Archaeological discoveries have revealed extensive evidence of ceremonial activities directly associated with geoglyph locations. Ceramic offerings, including specially decorated vessels and religious figurines, have been recovered from various sites. These findings suggest that lines served as focal points for religious ceremonies, possibly involving large community gatherings and ritual processions. Construction methods, while impressive in scale and precision, fall clearly within documented capabilities of Nazca society. Archaeological evidence demonstrates their sophisticated engineering skills through remarkable underground aqueduct systems that transported mountain water to desert cities via carefully engineered channels that remain functional today. Social organization required for geoglyph construction aligns with evidence of complex Nazca society found in urban centers, elaborate burial practices, and sophisticated artistic traditions. Coordination necessary for large-scale line construction would have required established leadership structures and labor management systems that archaeological evidence confirms existed in Nazca communities. Ongoing debates continue about whether lines were designed primarily for ground-level ceremonial use through ritual walking and religious processions, or whether aerial perspectives were somehow accessible to their creators. Some researchers have suggested possibilities of observation from elevated platforms or even experimental balloon flights, though evidence for the latter remains speculative. Modern documentation using drone photography and satellite imagery has revealed previously unknown geoglyphs, while providing detailed records of construction techniques. High-resolution mapping shows that many lines were created by systematically removing surface stones and arranging them along edges, creating raised borders that enhance design visibility and definition. Environmental research has demonstrated the remarkable sensitivity of geoglyphs to human disturbance. Vehicle tracks, footprints, and even wind-blown debris can damage delicate surface contrasts that make designs visible from distance. This fragility emphasizes the extraordinary achievement of creating artworks that survived over a millennium in pristine condition. Recent discoveries using advanced remote sensing techniques continue revealing new geoglyphs and previously unnoticed details in known designs. Ground-penetrating radar and other survey methods are uncovering buried features that may represent earlier construction phases or related archaeological deposits. Chemical analysis of soils from geoglyph areas provides insights into ancient environmental conditions and possible ceremonial activities. Trace element studies reveal differences between disturbed and undisturbed areas that may indicate specific construction techniques or ritual practices associated with line creation. Ethnographic studies of contemporary Andean cultures offer insights into possible traditional meanings and functions of large-scale landscape modifications. Current indigenous practices related to water ceremonies, agricultural rituals, and community gatherings provide analogical frameworks for understanding ancient Nazca motivations and methods. The integration of traditional archaeological methods with cutting-edge technology continues expanding our understanding of these remarkable achievements. 3D modelling, multispectral imaging, and sophisticated mapping techniques reveal previously unnoticed aspects of construction techniques and design principles. Conservation efforts employ advanced materials science and environmental monitoring to protect geoglyphs from natural weathering and human impact while enabling continued research. International cooperation ensures that preservation strategies incorporate both scientific knowledge and local community interests in maintaining cultural heritage. Educational programs developed in collaboration with local communities help raise awareness about geoglyph significance while promoting responsible tourism that supports regional economic development without damaging archaeological resources. These initiatives demonstrate how ancient heritage can contribute to contemporary community welfare. The Nazca Lines continue inspiring new research questions about relationships between astronomy, religion, art, and social organization in ancient Andean societies. Each investigation adds layers of understanding while revealing additional complexities in these remarkable expressions of human creativity and scientific knowledge. As we soar above these vast drawings etched into the desert floor, we witness unique fusion of artistic vision, astronomical knowledge, and engineering capability that transformed an entire landscape into humanity's largest artistic and scientific achievement. The Nazca Lines represent enduring testament to human desires for creating lasting monuments, connecting earthly activities with celestial movements. Chapter 6: The Antikythera Mechanism, Ancient Computer. Picture yourself descending through crystal-clear Aegean waters near the small Greek island of Antikythera, where in 1900 sponge divers discovered the wreck of a Roman merchant vessel. The ship had been carrying luxury goods, marble statues, fine wines, and scientific instruments to wealthy patrons across the Mediterranean when it foundered in stormy seas over 2,000 years ago. Among the bronze statues, ceramic amphorae and glassware recovered from the seafloor were heavily corroded metal fragments that initially appeared unremarkable. These corroded lumps sat largely ignored in museum storage for decades, until scholars began recognizing the extraordinary complexity hidden within the marine concretions. What they discovered challenged every assumption about ancient technological capabilities. The corroded fragments contained an intricate mechanical device of unprecedented sophistication, a complex system of precisely machined bronze gears that functioned as an ancient astronomical computer capable of predictions and calculations that wouldn't reappear in European technology for over a millennium. High-resolution X-ray computed tomography and advanced imaging techniques have revealed the mechanism to be an intricate system of at least 37 precisely machined bronze gears arranged in complex trains that could predict astronomical positions with remarkable accuracy. The sophistication rivals clockwork technology that wouldn't reappear in Europe until medieval Islamic and later European mechanical developments. The device functioned as a comprehensive astronomical calculator capable of predicting positions of the Sun, Moon, and the 5 planets known to ancient astronomers. It tracked complex lunar cycles, predicted both solar and lunar eclipses years in advance, and even incorporated corrections for the Moon's irregular elliptical orbit, an astronomical refinement not fully understood until Kepler's work in the 17th century. Professor Derek de Solla Price of Yale University pioneered scientific analysis of the mechanism in the 1970s using early radiographic techniques to peer inside the corroded bronze mass. His groundbreaking research revealed gear trains and initiated the long process of understanding the device's remarkable astronomical functions and mechanical sophistication. Recent investigations by international research teams have employed cutting-edge imaging technology to create detailed three-dimensional computer models of internal mechanisms. These digital reconstructions allow virtual disassembly and analysis of components too fragile for physical handling, while revealing previously unknown aspects of the device's construction and operation. The front face featured a large bronze dial displaying the Greek zodiac calendar and a 365-day Egyptian calendar system. Operators could input specific dates by turning a hand crank, causing the mechanism to calculate and display celestial positions for any chosen day with mathematical precision that demonstrates sophisticated understanding of astronomical cycles. The rear contained additional dials tracking lunar phases, Olympic Games schedules, and other important Greek festival cycles. One dial displayed the 19-year Metonic cycle that mathematically reconciles solar and lunar calendars, while another tracked the 4-year Olympic cycle, demonstrating integration of astronomical knowledge with practical civil and religious applications. Inscriptions covering the device provide operating instructions and astronomical reference information written in ancient Greek. These texts have been partially decoded using advanced imaging techniques and reveal sophisticated technical vocabulary consistent with known Greek astronomical treatises from the Hellenistic period. The precision required for construction suggests workshop capabilities that historians hadn't previously associated with ancient Greece. Individual gear teeth show evidence of careful filing and shaping to achieve proper mechanical interaction, while gear ratios demonstrate mathematical understanding accurate to multiple decimal places. The device's creator possessed detailed knowledge of mathematical models developed by renowned ancient astronomers, including Hipparchus and Apollonius. The mechanism mechanically implements their theoretical work on planetary motion, lunar irregularities, and eclipse prediction, transforming abstract mathematical concepts into functional mechanical computation. Historical context suggests creation around 100 to 50 BCE, possibly on Rhodes, which was famous as a centre for astronomical research and mechanical engineering. Rhodes hosted the legendary Colossus statue and attracted scholars and craftsmen from throughout the Mediterranean world, creating conditions favourable for such sophisticated technological development. The technological implications extend far beyond this single surviving example. Ancient literary sources mention other mechanical devices and astronomical instruments, suggesting that the Antikythera mechanism represents the pinnacle of a broader Greek mechanical engineering tradition that has left minimal material evidence due to bronze recycling and corrosion. Similar devices may have existed but didn't survive due to bronze's intrinsic value for recycling and the metal's susceptibility to corrosion over time. The Antikythera mechanism's preservation resulted from the fortunate accident of shipwreck, which removed it from circulation and protected internal structures through rapid burial in marine sediments. Recent discoveries of bronze gear fragments at other archaeological sites suggest mechanical devices incorporating gear systems were more widespread in the ancient world than previously recognized. These finds indicate that the Antikythera mechanism wasn't a unique invention, but part of a technological tradition that flourished during the Hellenistic period. The mathematics embedded in the device demonstrate remarkable understanding of astronomical cycles and their mechanical representation. The main gear train employs a ratio of 254:19 to represent relationships between solar and lunar motion, accurate to within extraordinary precision that rivals modern mechanical calculations. Advanced features include mechanical solutions to complex astronomical problems requiring sophisticated mathematical insight. The representation of a lunar motion incorporates corrections for the Moon's elliptical orbit through an ingenious pin and slot mechanism that automatically adjusts lunar position displays according to observed irregularities. Computer modelling reveals that the mechanism could have been extended with additional modules to predict positions of planets beyond those currently represented in surviving components. The modular design suggests ancient engineers understood principles of systematic expansion and mechanical integration that wouldn't be fully exploited until much later clockwork development. The craftsmanship evident in surviving components demonstrates mastery of precision metalworking techniques, including gear cutting, fine engraving, and complex mechanical assembly. The skill level required suggests specialized workshops with established traditions of mechanical engineering and astronomical instrument manufacturing. Construction techniques reveal sophisticated understanding of mechanical principles and manufacturing processes. Tool marks on gear teeth indicate use of specialized cutting implements, while assembly methods demonstrate knowledge of proper bearing surfaces, gear mesh tolerances, and mechanical timing relationships essential for accurate operation. The device incorporates differential gear mechanisms that automatically perform complex calculations by mechanical means rather than requiring manual computation. These mechanical computers solve mathematical problems through physical gear relationships, representing a remarkable achievement in analog computing that predates digital calculation methods by millennia. Recent analysis has identified previously unknown dial functions and gear relationships, suggesting the device was even more sophisticated than initially realized. Ongoing research continues revealing additional capabilities while advancing our understanding of ancient Greek mathematical and mechanical knowledge. Material analysis of bronze components provides insights into ancient metallurgical techniques and quality control methods. Chemical composition studies reveal sophisticated alloying practices designed to optimize gear durability and precision, while manufacturing analysis illuminates workshop organization and production methods. The mechanism's loss at sea ironically preserved it for modern scientific analysis. Had it remained on land, the valuable bronze would likely have been melted down for recycling, like countless other ancient metal objects. Marine burial conditions, while causing surface corrosion, maintained internal structural integrity, enabling contemporary study. Astronomical accuracy testing using computer modeling confirms that the device's predictions would have matched observed celestial phenomena with precision, adequate for ancient navigation, agricultural timing, and religious ceremony scheduling. This practical accuracy demonstrates the mechanism's functional value beyond theoretical interest. As we examine this remarkable ancient computer in filtered underwater archaeological lighting, we witness evidence of human intellectual achievement that challenges simplistic narratives about technological progress. The Antikythera mechanism demonstrates that innovation, precision engineering, and scientific understanding have always been part of human capability, where knowledge, skill, and curiosity intersect. Chapter 7: The Rongorongo Script of Easter Island. Imagine standing on the windswept volcanic shores of Rapa Nui, known to the world as Easter Island, as Pacific swells crash against black basalt cliffs beneath skies filled with wheeling seabirds. Here, on one of Earth's most isolated inhabited islands, lies another of archaeology's great linguistic mysteries, a unique writing system called Rongorongo that may represent the only indigenous script ever developed in Polynesia. Easter Island, located over 2,300 miles from the nearest populated land, was settled by remarkable Polynesian navigators sometime between 700 and 1200 CE. These extraordinary seafarers crossed vast expanses of open ocean using traditional sailing technologies and sophisticated wayfinding knowledge, establishing a thriving culture that created the famous Moai statues and developed complex agricultural systems on this remote volcanic island. The Rongorongo script appears carved into wooden tablets, ceremonial staffs, and other artifacts discovered throughout the island. The term Rongorongo translates as to recite or to chant in the Rapa Nui language, suggesting these inscriptions served as memory aids for oral recitations, possibly helping preserve genealogies, ceremonial chants, or traditional stories across generations. Only about 24 authentic Rongorongo objects survive today, most housed in museums worldwide after being collected by 19th century visitors to the island. The script consists of small, intricate glyphs carved into wood using shark teeth or obsidian tools. Symbols include representations of humans, birds, fish, plants, geometric shapes, and abstract designs arranged in horizontal lines following a distinctive reading pattern. The writing system employed a unique directional method called boustrophodon, where alternate lines run in opposite directions, left to right, then right to left, then left to right again. Additionally, every other line is inverted, creating a serpentine reading pattern that requires rotating the tablet 180 degrees for each line, a system found nowhere else in world writing traditions. Discovery and documentation of Rongorongo began in the 1860s, when French missionary Eugène Néraud first reported seeing wooden tablets covered with hieroglyphic-like symbols in Rapa Nui homes. Unfortunately, by the time serious scholarly attention focused on the script, much cultural knowledge had been devastated by slave raids, epidemic diseases, and cultural disruption following European contact. The tragedy of lost cultural continuity compounds decipherment challenges enormously. Unlike other undeciphered scripts where cultural traditions provide interpretive frameworks, Rongorongo studies must proceed without native speakers who understand the writing system's original functions, meanings, or reading methods. Early attempts at documentation occurred during a period of severe cultural trauma for Easter Island society. Population had crashed from an estimated several thousand to barely 100 survivors by the 1870s due to Peruvian slave raids that specifically targeted cultural leaders and knowledgeable elders, followed by smallpox epidemics that decimated remaining communities. The few surviving islanders who retained some knowledge of Rongorongo were interviewed by various researchers, but their accounts often contradicted each other and seemed to reflect fragmented memories rather than complete understanding of the script's systematic usage. Some appeared to be improvising interpretations rather than recalling traditional meanings. Scholarly analysis has identified approximately 600 distinct Rongorongo symbols, though exact counts vary depending on how researchers categorize variants and compound signs. The total corpus comprises roughly 15,000 individual glyph instances distributed across surviving tablets, providing substantial material for statistical and comparative analysis. Decipherment efforts have followed various methodological approaches over more than a century of research. Some scholars have attempted to connect symbols with known Polynesian cultural concepts, mythological themes, or astronomical phenomena. Others have pursued statistical analysis looking for patterns in symbol frequency and distribution that might reveal grammatical structures. Russian scholar Nikolai Butinov and German researcher Thomas Barthel made significant contributions to Rongorongo studies by developing systematic glyph catalogues and identifying recurring symbol combinations that appear across multiple tablets. Their work established foundations for comparative analysis while documenting the script's internal consistency and complexity. Recent computational approaches have brought advanced analytical tools to bear on decipherment challenges. Computer-assisted pattern recognition and statistical analysis have identified previously unnoticed regularities in symbol usage and distribution, while database compilation enables sophisticated comparative studies across the entire surviving corpus. One promising research direction involves identifying potential pictographic elements that might represent recognizable objects or concepts. Some symbols clearly resemble humans, birds, fish, or plants, suggesting possible pictographic origins for portions of the script, even if it evolved toward more abstract phonetic or syllabic representation. Astronomical interpretation represents another active research area, given the importance of celestial observation in Polynesian navigation and calendar systems. Some researchers have proposed connections between certain Rongorongo symbols and astronomical phenomena, seasonal cycles, or navigational concepts crucial for Pacific Island cultures. The tablets themselves provide important contextual information about script usage and cultural significance. Most are carved on pieces of driftwood or construction timber, suggesting that writing materials were precious resources on this tree-poor island. The careful craftsmanship evident in symbol execution indicates that creating Rongorongo inscriptions required considerable time and skill. Different tablets show varying symbol densities, glyph sizes, and execution quality, possibly indicating different scribal traditions, chronological periods, or functional categories. Some appear more formal and carefully executed, while others seem hastier or more abbreviated, potentially reflecting different usage contexts or skill levels. Preservation challenges affect all surviving Rongorongo materials. Wooden tablets are vulnerable to insect damage, fungal decay, and physical deterioration that can obscure or destroy carved symbols. Modern conservation efforts employ advanced techniques to stabilize materials while enabling detailed documentation and analysis. Digital documentation projects are creating comprehensive databases of all known Rongorongo inscriptions using high-resolution photography and three-dimensional scanning. These technological approaches enable detailed comparative analysis while preserving access to materials too fragile for repeated physical handling. Comparative studies with other Pacific Island cultural traditions provide potential insights into symbolic systems and oral tradition preservation methods that might illuminate rongorongo functions. Similar memory aid systems exist in other Polynesian cultures, though none developed into full writing systems comparable to rongorongo's apparent complexity. The script's unique directional characteristics suggest local innovation rather than derivation from other writing traditions. The Bustrophodon reading pattern with line inversion appears nowhere else in documented writing systems, indicating that rongorongo represents independent development rather than adaptation of external models. Recent archaeological discoveries on Easter Island continue providing cultural context that might inform script interpretation efforts. Excavations of ceremonial sites, residential areas, and specialized activity locations reveal aspects of traditional Rapa Nui society that could illuminate the social contexts in which rongorongo functioned. Ethnographic research with contemporary Rapa Nui communities explores cultural memory, oral traditions, and symbolic systems that might preserve fragments of knowledge relevant to script interpretation. While direct continuity has been broken, some traditional concepts and cultural patterns may retain connections to historical contexts. Environmental research reconstructing Easter Island's ecological history provides insights into resource constraints and cultural adaptations that might have influenced writing system development. Understanding environmental pressures and resource availability helps illuminate the practical context in which rongorongo emerged and functioned. The mystery of rongorongo's origins remains as puzzling as its meaning. Did the script develop independently through local innovation, or might it have been inspired by contacts with other literate cultures? The timing of its apparent development, possibly in the 18th or early 19th centuries, coincides with increasing Pacific contact that could have provided external inspiration. Alternative theories propose that rongorongo might not represent full writing, but rather a sophisticated system of mnemonic aids used to support oral recitation of traditional materials. This interpretation would explain the script's complexity, while accounting for the apparent difficulty early researchers experienced finding islanders who could read the tablets in conventional senses. The possibility that different tablets served different functions, genealogical records, ceremonial chants, astronomical calendars, or mythological narratives, could explain variations in symbol usage and arrangement patterns observed across the surviving corpus. As we stand on Easter Island's remote shores, surrounded by the enigmatic Moai statues and holding fragments of wooden tablets covered with mysterious glyphs, we confront one of humanity's most isolated experiments in written communication. Whether rongorongo represents full writing or sophisticated memory aids, it demonstrates the universal human drive to preserve and transmit knowledge across generations through symbolic systems. Chapter 8. The Phaistos Disc, Spiral Mystery. Picture yourself in the ancient Minoan palace of Phaistos on the Greek island of Crete, where archaeologist Luigi Pernier made one of the most puzzling discoveries in the history of writing systems. In 1908, excavating in a basement room of the palace, he uncovered a remarkable clay disc that has defied decipherment efforts for over a century while challenging our understanding of ancient communication technologies. The Phaistos disc, dating to approximately 1700 BCE during the height of Minoan civilization, consists of a fired clay tablet about 6 inches in diameter, covered with symbols arranged in a distinctive spiral pattern. What makes this artifact extraordinary isn't just its unique format, but the sophisticated printing technology it represents. The symbols appear to have been impressed into clay using individual stamps or seals, making it potentially the world's earliest example of movable type printing. The disc contains 241 symbol impressions, representing 45 different signs, arranged in 61 groups separated by vertical lines. The symbols spiral from the outer edge toward the center on both sides of the disc, creating a reading pattern unlike any other known ancient text. The intended reading direction remains uncertain, though most scholars assume it begins at the outer edge and spirals inward. The symbol inventory includes recognizable pictographic elements, human figures, animals, plants, tools, architectural features, and various objects that appear to represent aspects of Minoan culture and daily life. A striding man, a woman's head with elaborate headdress, various birds and fish, ships, buildings, and weapons create a visual vocabulary that seems to capture the material world of Bronze Age Crete. The printing technology implied by the disc's uniform symbol impressions represents a remarkable technological achievement for the 2nd millennium BCE. Each symbol appears to have been created using individual stamps pressed into clay while it remained workable, requiring a set of reusable printing elements that could be combined in different arrangements to create messages. This printing method predates Gutenberg's movable type by over 3 millennia and suggests technological sophistication that historians hadn't previously associated with Bronze Age civilizations. The implications for information reproduction and standardization in ancient administrative or religious contexts could be profound if similar technologies were more widely employed. However, the Phaistos disc remains a complete singleton. No other examples of this printing technology or similar symbol systems have been discovered from Minoan contexts or contemporary Bronze Age cultures. This isolation raises questions about whether the disc represents a unique, experimental technology or evidence of a broader tradition that has left no other material traces. Decipherment attempts have pursued numerous approaches over the past century without achieving scholarly consensus. Some researchers have attempted to connect the symbols with known Minoan cultural elements, architectural features, or religious practices documented through other archaeological evidence from Cretan sites. Linguistic approaches have sought connections to various ancient languages that might have been spoken in Bronze Age Crete. Proposals have included early Greek, Anatolian languages, Semitic languages, and even connections to Linear A, the undeciphered Minoan script found elsewhere on Crete, though no convincing relationships have been established. Statistical analysis has examined symbol frequency patterns, group structures, and distribution characteristics that might reveal underlying organizational principles or linguistic features. These studies have identified possible repeated phrases or formulaic expressions that could indicate ritualistic, administrative, or literary content. The spiral format itself presents interpretive challenges rarely encountered in other ancient texts. Spiral arrangements appear in various Minoan artistic contexts, particularly on pottery and architectural decoration, suggesting possible cosmological, ceremonial, or aesthetic significance that might illuminate the disc's intended function. Some researchers have proposed astronomical interpretations, suggesting the disc might represent calendrical information, celestial observations, or seasonal cycles important for agricultural or religious purposes. The spiral format could represent cyclical time concepts, while individual symbols might denote specific astronomical phenomena or calendar periods. Religious interpretation represents another active research direction, considering the disc's discovery context within a palace complex that likely served ceremonial as well as administrative functions. The symbol inventory could represent deities, ritual objects, or ceremonial procedures documented in a format suitable for religious instruction or reference. Gaming or entertainment theories propose the disc might represent some form of ancient board game, divination system, or recreational activity. The spiral format and symbol groupings could indicate movement patterns, game positions, or fortune-telling procedures that required standardized symbolic representation. Recent digital analysis has employed advanced imaging techniques to document fine details of symbol construction and sequence arrangement. High-resolution photography and three-dimensional scanning reveal previously unnoticed aspects of the printing process, while enabling more sophisticated comparative analysis of symbol variations. Chemical analysis of the clay fabric provides insights into manufacturing location and techniques used in disc production. Mineral composition studies suggest local Cretan clay sources, while firing temperature analysis reveals sophisticated ceramic technology consistent with known Minoan pottery traditions. The disc's archaeological context within the Phaistos Palace provides important chronological and cultural information. Associated pottery and architectural features confirm dating to the Neopalatial period, when Minoan civilization reached its apparent peak of complexity and artistic achievement. Comparative analysis with other Minoan symbolic systems, including Linear A, hieroglyphic scripts, and artistic iconography, reveals both similarities and differences that might illuminate the disc's relationship to broader Minoan communication traditions. While some symbols appear related to known Minoan forms, many remain completely unique to the disc. The mystery extends beyond symbol meanings to encompass questions about the disc's intended audience and function. Was it designed for public display, private reference, educational instruction, or ceremonial usage? The careful craftsmanship suggests importance, while the unique format implies specialized function. Preservation challenges affect ongoing research as the fired clay disc remains vulnerable to handling damage despite its apparent durability. Modern conservation techniques ensure stability while enabling continued study, though physical manipulation is minimized in favor of digital analysis methods. International collaboration among specialists in Minoan archaeology, ancient languages, printing technology, and symbolic systems continues advancing research through interdisciplinary approaches that combine diverse expertise. Regular academic conferences and online databases facilitate information sharing and collaborative analysis efforts. The possibility that the disc represents a unique individual creation, rather than evidence of systematic printing technology, remains viable given the absence of comparable finds. Perhaps a single innovative craftsman or scribe experimented with printing methods that weren't adopted more broadly within Minoan culture. Alternative theories consider whether the disc might represent foreign influence or trade connections bringing external printing technologies to Crete. The Minoans maintained extensive maritime trade networks throughout the Eastern Mediterranean that could have facilitated technological transfer from other advanced civilizations. Recent archaeological discoveries from other Minoan sites continue providing comparative material that might illuminate disc interpretation. New finds of symbolic systems, administrative records, or technological innovations could provide crucial context for understanding the disc's cultural significance and practical function. The enigma encompasses not just the disc's content, but its implications for understanding technological capabilities and information management in Bronze Age civilizations. If similar printing technologies existed more broadly, their absence from the archaeological record raises questions about preservation bias, material selection, or cultural preferences for other communication methods. Computer-assisted analysis using pattern recognition software and machine learning approaches represents cutting-edge research directions that might identify previously unnoticed structural relationships or symbolic patterns. These technological tools complement traditional philological methods while opening new analytical possibilities. As we examine this remarkable artifact in the filtered light of an archaeological laboratory, holding carefully in gloved hands a piece of fired clay that challenges our understanding of ancient technological achievement, we confront evidence that Bronze Age innovations often exceeded what later periods would achieve for centuries or millennia. The Phaistos disc stands as testament to human creativity, technological experimentation, and the endless quest to preserve and communicate information across time. Whether we eventually decipher its message or it remains forever mysterious, it represents a unique achievement in the long history of human symbolic communication. Chapter 9: The Yonaguni Monument Underwater Enigma. Imagine descending through crystal-clear Pacific waters off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan's westernmost island, where strong currents swirl around mysterious underwater formations that have sparked decades of scientific debate. Here, at depths ranging from 5 to 40 meters beneath the surface, lies a massive stone structure that challenges our understanding of both geological processes and ancient human capabilities in the Pacific region. The Yonaguni Monument, discovered in 1987 by dive tour operator Kihachiro Aratake, consists of massive stone terraces, geometric shapes, and architectural features that appear remarkably artificial, despite being entirely composed of the local sandstone bedrock. The main structure measures approximately 150 meters long, 40 meters wide, and 27 meters high, making it one of the largest underwater architectural sites known to archaeology. The formation displays numerous features that seem to suggest human modification: straight edges, precise angles, regular terraces, and step-like formations that create an impression of sophisticated architectural planning. Most striking are the apparent roads, staircases, ceremonial platforms, and what some interpret as carved symbols or decorative elements integrated into the stone surfaces. Japanese marine geologist Professor Masaki Kimura has spent decades studying the monument and argues for artificial construction based on detailed underwater surveys, precise measurements, and comparative analysis with known archaeological sites. His research has documented tool marks, quarrying evidence, and architectural features that he believes exceed what natural erosion processes could produce. Kimura's interpretation suggests the structure represents a large ceremonial complex, possibly dating to periods when sea levels were significantly lower than today, potentially 10,000 to 12,000 years ago during the end of the last ice age. This dating would place construction during the Yomon period of Japanese prehistory, known for sophisticated pottery and complex hunter-gatherer societies. However, the artificial interpretation faces significant challenges from geological experts who argue that natural processes can adequately explain all observed features. The local Yonaguni sandstone exhibits natural fracturing patterns, bedding planes, and erosion characteristics that could produce geometric shapes resembling architectural elements through purely geological processes. Marine geologist Professor Robert Schoch from Boston University represents the natural formation interpretation, arguing that tectonic activity, wave action, and chemical erosion over thousands of years could create the regular patterns and geometric features observed at the site. He notes that similar formations occur elsewhere where sedimentary rocks undergo marine erosion. The geological context supports natural formation theories. Yonaguni Island sits in a tectonically active region where earthquakes and associated fracturing occur regularly. The local sandstone consists of alternating hard and soft layers that erode at different rates, potentially creating terrace-like formations through differential weathering processes. Underwater archaeological investigation faces unique challenges that complicate interpretation efforts. Strong currents, limited visibility, and the physical demands of deep diving restrict detailed examination and documentation. Unlike terrestrial sites where comprehensive excavation is possible, underwater sites require specialized techniques and equipment that limit research accessibility. Recent technological advances have enabled more sophisticated documentation of the monument using high-resolution underwater photography, sonar mapping, and three-dimensional reconstruction techniques. These methods provide detailed records of structural features while minimizing interpretation bias that might result from selective observation during diving operations. The debate continues because both artificial and natural explanations remain scientifically viable given current evidence. The monument displays characteristics consistent with human construction, geometric regularity, apparent quarrying marks, and architectural features, while also exhibiting properties explainable through geological processes operating over extended time periods. Carbon dating of marine organisms growing on the structure provides minimum ages for submergence, but cannot determine when the basic rock formations were created or modified. Radiocarbon analysis indicates the monument has been underwater for at least 6,000 years, consistent with known sea level changes following the last glacial period. The absence of associated cultural materials poses challenges for archaeological interpretation. Typical human construction sites contain tool fragments, pottery sherds, or other cultural debris that confirm human activity. The Yonaguni monument lacks such clear archaeological markers, though this absence could result from underwater erosion or limited excavation access. Comparative analysis with known Japanese archaeological sites reveals both similarities and differences. Some architectural elements resemble features found at terrestrial Jomon period sites, while others appear unique to the underwater context. These comparisons suggest possible cultural connections, while highlighting the monument's distinctive characteristics. The monument's location provides important contextual information about past environmental conditions and human settlement patterns. During periods of a lower sea level, the area would have been above water and potentially suitable for human habitation, supporting theories about possible artificial construction during prehistoric periods. Oceanographic research has reconstructed past sea level changes in the region, confirming that the monument area was submerged as glacial ice melted following the last ice age. This timeline provides frameworks for evaluating both human construction and natural formation scenarios under different environmental conditions. Recent discoveries of additional underwater features near Yonaguni have expanded the scope of research and interpretation. Similar geometric formations at various depths suggest either widespread natural geological processes or extensive ancient construction activities that created multiple related structures across the area. International collaboration among marine archaeologists, geologists, and oceanographers continues advancing research through multidisciplinary approaches that combine diverse scientific perspectives. Regular conferences and joint research projects facilitate information sharing while maintaining scientific rigor in evaluation methods. The cultural significance debate extends beyond scientific questions to encompass broader issues about recognizing prehistoric achievements and understanding ancient capabilities in the Pacific region. The monument's interpretation affects discussions about early maritime cultures, ancient construction technologies, and prehistoric settlement patterns. Tourism and conservation concerns intersect with research activities as the site attracts visitors interested in underwater exploration while requiring protection from damage caused by diving activities. Balancing public access with scientific research and environmental protection presents ongoing management challenges. Advanced diving technology enables more detailed exploration while minimizing environmental impact. Remotely operated vehicles, underwater photography systems, and precise measurement tools allow comprehensive documentation without requiring extensive human presence that might damage fragile underwater environments. The monument continues yielding new observations and interpretations as research techniques advance, and additional evidence becomes available. Each investigation provides additional data while highlighting the complexity of distinguishing between natural and artificial features in marine archaeological contexts. Chemical analysis of stone surfaces seeks evidence of tool marks, artificial modification, or other indicators of human activity that might resolve the construction debate. Microscopic examination of surface textures, mineral composition studies, and comparative analysis with known quarrying sites provide potential evidence for evaluating competing interpretations. The geological argument emphasizes the power of natural processes to create remarkably regular formations through consistent erosion patterns operating over geological timescales. Examples from other locations demonstrate that marine environments can produce geometric features that closely resemble artificial construction without human involvement. Archaeological arguments focus on architectural sophistication, precise measurements, and complex spatial relationships that seem to exceed what random natural processes would likely produce. The integration of multiple architectural elements into coherent spatial arrangements suggests systematic planning, characteristic of human construction projects. Current research directions include continued underwater mapping, comparative geological analysis, and expanded investigation of related features throughout the region. Long-term monitoring of ongoing erosion processes provides insights into how natural forces modify underwater rock formations over observable time periods. The Yonaguni Monument debate illustrates the challenges inherent in interpreting ambiguous archaeological evidence where multiple explanations remain scientifically viable. Whether ultimately proven artificial or natural, the formation represents an important case study in underwater archaeology methodology and the intersection of geological and archaeological interpretation. As we examine this enigmatic structure through diving masks in the filtered blue light of the underwater environment, we confront the limits of current knowledge and the ongoing nature of scientific discovery. The monument reminds us that Earth's history contains many features that challenge easy categorization, while inspiring continued investigation and debate. Chapter 10: The Voynich Manuscript, the world's most mysterious book. Picture yourself in the hushed atmosphere of Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book Library, where one of history's most enigmatic documents rests in climate-controlled security. The Voynich Manuscript, a 240-page vellum codex written in an unknown script and illustrated with bizarre images, has defied every attempt at decipherment since its modern discovery over a century ago, earning it recognition as the world's most mysterious book. Carbon dating places the manuscript's creation in the early 15th century, somewhere between 1404 and 1438 CE, during the height of European medieval scholarship. The text is written in an elegant but completely unknown script using an estimated 170,000 characters, representing approximately 35,000 words, arranged in what appears to be a systematic language with consistent patterns and structures. The manuscript's illustrations are as puzzling as its text, featuring detailed drawings of unidentifiable plants, astronomical diagrams, mysterious scientific instruments, and strange biological imagery, including what appear to be naked women bathing in green liquid connected by elaborate pipe systems. These images follow medieval manuscript conventions while depicting subjects that don't correspond to known medieval knowledge or artistic traditions. Named after Wilfrid Voynich, the Polish book dealer who acquired it in 1912, the manuscript has attracted attention from professional cryptographers, computer scientists, linguists, and amateur enthusiasts who have proposed hundreds of theories about its origins, language, and content, without achieving scholarly consensus about its meaning or purpose. The script itself presents fascinating characteristics that suggest genuine language rather than random gibberish or deliberate hoax. Statistical analysis reveals frequency patterns consistent with natural languages, including Zipf's law distributions and other mathematical relationships that characterize human linguistic systems. However, these patterns don't match any known historical language or writing system. Professional cryptanalysts, including those from government intelligence agencies, have applied sophisticated code-breaking techniques to the manuscript without success. The text doesn't conform to known cipher systems, substitution codes, or steganographic methods that were available to medieval cryptographers, suggesting either highly advanced encryption or representation of an unknown natural language. Linguistic analysis has explored connections to various medieval languages, including Latin, Hebrew, Arabic, and vernacular European languages of the 15th century. Computer-assisted pattern recognition has searched for hidden Latin text, encoded German phrases, and various other linguistic possibilities without identifying convincing matches or systematic relationships. The botanical illustrations present particularly intriguing puzzles because they appear to represent plants that don't correspond to known species from any geographical region. The drawings show sophisticated understanding of plant morphology and anatomy, while depicting root systems, flowering patterns, and structural details that seem biologically plausible, but don't match documented flora from Europe, Asia, or other regions accessible to medieval scholars. Some researchers have proposed that the plant illustrations might represent pharmaceutical or alchemical knowledge, suggesting the manuscript could be a medical treatise describing herbal remedies, chemical processes, or therapeutic procedures using symbolic rather than literal botanical representation. However, the lack of recognizable medicinal plants or standard medieval pharmaceutical terminology complicates this interpretation. The astronomical sections contain circular diagrams with radiating elements that resemble medieval cosmological illustrations, zodiacal charts, or calendrical systems. Some images appear to show lunar phases, planetary positions, or seasonal cycles, suggesting the manuscript might contain astronomical knowledge or astrological practices common in medieval scholarly traditions. Detailed analysis of the astronomical illustrations has revealed sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics and mathematical relationships, including apparent references to planetary cycles, eclipse predictions, and calendrical calculations. However, the specific astronomical system represented doesn't match known medieval European, Islamic, or ancient traditions. The mysterious biological sections feature images of naked women in elaborate bathing systems, connected by pipes, tubes, and mechanical devices that seem to represent some kind of hydrotherapeutic or alchemical apparatus. These illustrations don't correspond to known medieval medical practices, though they might represent symbolic or allegorical content rather than literal depictions. Recent multispectral imaging has revealed previously invisible details in both text and illustrations, including corrections, additions, and underlying sketches that provide insights into the manuscript's creation process. These discoveries suggest systematic composition rather than stream-of-consciousness writing, supporting theories about deliberate encoding or representation of specialized knowledge. Computer analysis has identified possible word boundaries, paragraph structures, and organizational patterns that suggest the text follows consistent grammatical rules and semantic relationships. Statistical studies have revealed apparent topic-specific vocabularies that correlate with different illustration types, suggesting the manuscript addresses multiple subjects using specialized terminology. The possibility that the Voynich manuscript represents an artificial language created for specific purposes has attracted considerable research attention. Some scholars propose it might be a philosophical language designed to represent universal concepts, similar to later attempts by scholars like John Wilkins to create systematic universal communication systems. Alternative theories suggest the manuscript might represent a lost natural language from an isolated community, a specialized professional jargon, or a deliberately obscured version of a known language modified through systematic transformation rules. Each possibility presents testable hypotheses that researchers continue investigating through various analytical approaches. Medieval context research has explored possible authorship candidates, geographical origins, and cultural contexts that might illuminate the manuscript's purpose and meaning. Potential creators include Roger Bacon, John Dee, and other medieval scholars known for cryptographic interests and unconventional knowledge systems, though no definitive attributions have been established. The manuscript's provenance history provides some contextual clues about its circulation and perceived value. Documentary evidence suggests it was owned by Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II, who reportedly paid 600 gold ducats for it, an enormous sum indicating it was considered extremely valuable and significant during the late 16th century. Physical analysis of the vellum inks and binding techniques confirms 15th century origins, while revealing sophisticated craftsmanship and expensive materials that suggest the manuscript was created by skilled scribes working for wealthy patrons. The quality of materials and execution indicates this was considered an important work, rather than experimental or practice writing. Recent artificial intelligence applications have employed machine learning techniques to analyze linguistic patterns, identify possible cipher systems, and search for hidden structures that might reveal the manuscript's encoding methods. These computational approaches complement traditional philological analysis, while opening new research possibilities. Collaborative international research projects continue advancing decipherment efforts through crowdsourcing, database compilation, and systematic analysis of all proposed solutions. Online platforms enable global participation in research while maintaining scholarly standards for evaluating competing theories and interpretations. The manuscript's influence extends beyond academic research to inspire artistic, literary, and popular culture interpretations that imagine possible meanings and purposes. These creative responses demonstrate the manuscript's continued cultural significance, while highlighting the human fascination with unsolved mysteries and hidden knowledge. Conservation efforts employ cutting-edge preservation techniques to protect the manuscript from deterioration while enabling continued research access. Digital reproduction projects create high-resolution copies that support Chapter 11, The Olmec Colossal Heads, Portraits of the Unknown. Imagine walking through the dense jungle of Mexico's Gulf Coast, where humid air hangs heavy with the sounds of howler monkeys and exotic birds, until you suddenly encounter one of archaeology's most striking enigmas, a massive stone head, nearly 10 feet tall and weighing over 20 tons, carved with remarkable skill to depict a human face of extraordinary individuality and artistic power. The Olmec Colossal Heads, created by Mesoamerica's earliest known major civilization between 1400 and 400 BCE, represent one of the world's most impressive achievements in monumental sculpture. 17 heads have been discovered across 4 major Olmec sites in the Mexican states of Veracruz and Tabasco, each displaying unique facial features, expressions, and elaborate headdresses that suggest portraits of specific individuals rather than generic representations. These massive sculptures were carved from single blocks of basalt quarried from the Tuxtla Mountains, located up to 100 kilometers from where the heads were ultimately installed. The logistics of transporting stones weighing 20 to 50 tons across difficult terrain of swamps, rivers, and jungle represents an extraordinary feat of engineering and social organization that required sophisticated planning and considerable human resources. The Olmec civilization, often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica, flourished in the tropical lowlands along Mexico's Gulf Coast from approximately 1600 to 400 BCE. They developed many fundamental features that would characterize later Mesoamerican cultures, including monumental architecture, sophisticated calendar systems, hieroglyphic writing, and complex religious practices centered around jaguar symbolism and shamanic transformation. Archaeological evidence suggests the Olmec established the first major urban centers in Mesoamerica at sites like La Venta, San Lorenzo, and Tres Zapotes. These settlements featured elaborate ceremonial complexes with pyramids, plazas, and sophisticated drainage systems that required coordinated labor forces and hierarchical social organization unprecedented in the Americas at that time. The colossal heads demonstrate remarkable artistic sophistication and technical mastery of stone carving. Each head displays individually distinctive facial features suggesting they represent portraits of specific rulers or important individuals rather than idealized generic figures. The level of naturalistic detail and psychological presence conveyed through these sculptures rivals the greatest achievements of world portrait art. The heads wear elaborate headdresses that appear to represent protective helmets, decorated with various symbols and designs. Some researchers interpret these as ceremonial regalia, indicating rank or religious authority, while others suggest they might represent practical protective gear used in ritual ball games that held important religious and political significance in Olmec culture. Detailed analysis of carving techniques reveals sophisticated understanding of sculptural methods and tool technologies. The basalt stone required specialized implements and considerable skill to achieve the smooth surfaces and precise details visible in the finished works. Tool marks and surface analysis provide insights into Olmec craftsmanship and artistic traditions. The facial features depicted in the heads have generated considerable scholarly discussion about Olmec ethnic characteristics and possible cultural connections. The sculptures show a range of physiological traits including broad noses, full lips, and distinctive eye shapes that some researchers have interpreted as reflecting African, Asian, or indigenous American ancestry. However, mainstream archaeological consensus holds that the heads represent indigenous American populations with natural variations in physical appearance that exist within any human group. The artistic style emphasizes certain facial characteristics for aesthetic or symbolic reasons, rather than necessarily indicating foreign ethnic origins or transoceanic contact with other civilizations. Recent research has employed advanced imaging techniques including laser scanning and photogrammetry to document precise measurements and surface details of all known heads. These technological approaches enable comparative analysis of carving techniques, artistic styles, and potential relationships between heads from different sites. Chemical analysis of the basalt has confirmed that all heads were carved from stone originating in the Tuxtla Mountains, demonstrating the extensive transport networks and resource acquisition capabilities that Olmec society possessed. Petrographic studies of rock composition provide insights into quarrying locations and possible selection criteria for choosing appropriate stone blocks. The discovery contexts of the heads provide important information about their original functions and cultural significance. Most were found in association with major ceremonial complexes, suggesting they played important roles in religious or political activities central to Olmec social organization. Some heads show evidence of intentional damage or modification, including deliberate defacement or recarving that may reflect political changes, religious transformations, or ritual practices involving the symbolic destruction of previous authority figures. These modifications provide insights into Olmec political dynamics and cultural practices. The chronological distribution of head production spans several centuries, suggesting that colossal head carving represented an established artistic tradition rather than isolated experimental works. Stylistic analysis reveals evolutionary changes in artistic conventions and technical approaches that illuminate Olmec cultural development over time. Comparative analysis with other Olmec artistic traditions reveals consistent iconographic themes and stylistic elements that connect the heads to broader patterns of Olmec symbolic expression. Similar facial features, headdress elements, and decorative motifs appear in smaller sculptures, ceramic vessels, and architectural decoration throughout Olmec territory. The social organization required for head production involved specialized craftsmen, organized labor forces for stone transport, and hierarchical authority systems capable of commissioning and directing such massive projects. The heads represent not just artistic achievement, but evidence of complex social stratification and political organization. Recent archaeological discoveries continue providing new insights into Olmec society and cultural practices that help contextualize the colossal heads within broader patterns of Mesoamerican civilization development. Excavations at Olmec sites reveal sophisticated urban planning, long-distance trade networks, and complex religious practices that support interpretations of advanced social organization. Environmental research has reconstructed ancient landscapes and settlement patterns that illuminate the context in which Olmec civilization developed. Paleoclimatic studies reveal how environmental changes affected resource availability and settlement location decisions that influence cultural development. The head's influence on later Mesoamerican artistic traditions demonstrates the foundational importance of Olmec culture for subsequent civilizations including the Maya, Zapotec, and Aztec. Similar monumental portrait sculpture appears in later contexts, suggesting continuity of artistic traditions and political practices across millennia. Conservation efforts focus on protecting the heads from environmental damage while maintaining public access for educational and cultural purposes. Advanced weathering analysis and preservation techniques help ensure these remarkable sculptures remain available for future research and appreciation. Digital documentation projects are creating comprehensive archives of all known heads using advanced photography, measurement techniques, and three-dimensional modelling. These resources support comparative research while preserving detailed records of sculptural features that might be affected by ongoing weathering processes. The mystery of Olmec origins and cultural development continues attracting research attention as new archaeological discoveries provide additional evidence about this foundational Mesoamerican civilization. Each investigation reveals new aspects of Olmec achievement while raising additional questions about their society and cultural practices. International collaboration among researchers specializing in Mesoamerican archaeology, art history, and materials science continues advancing understanding through interdisciplinary approaches that combine diverse expertise. Regular conferences and collaborative projects facilitate information sharing and joint research initiatives. The heads represent remarkable achievements in artistic vision, technical execution, and social organization that demonstrate the sophisticated capabilities of early Mesoamerican civilizations. They stand as testimony to human creativity and the universal desire to create lasting monuments that preserve individual identity and cultural achievement. Educational programs developed in collaboration with local communities help raise awareness about Olmec cultural heritage, while promoting responsible tourism that supports regional economic development without damaging archaeological resources. These initiatives demonstrate how ancient heritage can contribute to contemporary community welfare. The colossal heads continue inspiring new research questions about identity representation, political authority, and artistic achievement in ancient societies. Each investigation provides additional insights while highlighting the complexity and sophistication of early Mesoamerican civilization that established foundations for subsequent cultural development throughout the region. As we stand before these massive stone portraits in the filtered green light of the tropical forest, we encounter faces that have gazed across centuries with expressions that seem to convey both authority and humanity. The Olmec colossal heads remind us that the desire to preserve individual identity through artistic achievement represents a fundamental human impulse that transcends cultural and temporal boundaries. Imagine walking through the dense jungle of Mexico's Gulf Coast, where humid air hangs heavy with the sounds of howler monkeys and exotic birds, until you suddenly encounter one of archaeology's most striking enigmas, a massive stone head, nearly 10 feet tall and weighing over 20 tons, carved with remarkable skill to depict a human face of extraordinary individuality and artistic power. The Olmec colossal heads, created by Mesoamerica's earliest known major civilization between 1400 and 400 BCE, represent one of the world's most impressive achievements in monumental sculpture. 17 heads have been discovered across 4 major Olmec sites in the Mexican states of Veracruz and Tabasco, each displaying unique facial features, expressions, and elaborate headdresses that suggest portraits of specific individuals rather than generic representations. These massive sculptures were carved from single blocks of basalt quarried from the Tuxtla Mountains, located up to 100 kilometers from where the heads were ultimately installed. The logistics of transporting stones weighing 20 to 50 tons across difficult terrain of swamps, rivers, and jungle represents an extraordinary feat of engineering and social organization that required sophisticated planning and considerable human resources. The Olmec civilization, often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica, flourished in the tropical lowlands along Mexico's Gulf Coast from approximately 1600 to 400 BCE. They developed many fundamental features that would characterize later Mesoamerican cultures, including monumental architecture, sophisticated calendar systems, hieroglyphic writing, and complex religious practices centered around jaguar symbolism and shamanic transformation. Archaeological evidence suggests the Olmec established the first major urban centers in Mesoamerica at sites like La Venta, San Lorenzo, and Tres Zapotes. These settlements featured elaborate ceremonial complexes with pyramids, plazas, and sophisticated drainage systems that required coordinated labor forces and hierarchical social organization unprecedented in the Americas at that time. The colossal heads demonstrate remarkable artistic sophistication and technical mastery of stone carving. Each head displays individually distinctive facial features, suggesting they represent portraits of specific rulers or important individuals rather than idealized generic figures. The The level of naturalistic detail and psychological presence conveyed through these sculptures rivals the greatest achievements of world portrait art. The heads wear elaborate headdresses that appear to represent protective helmets, decorated with various symbols and designs. Some researchers interpret these as ceremonial regalia, indicating rank or religious authority, while others suggest they might represent practical protective gear used in ritual ball games that held important religious and political significance in Olmec culture. Detailed analysis of carving techniques reveals sophisticated understanding of sculptural methods and tool technologies. The basalt stone required specialized implements and considerable skill to achieve the smooth surfaces and precise details visible in the finished works. Tool marks and surface analysis provide insights into Olmec craftsmanship and artistic traditions. The facial features depicted in the heads have generated considerable scholarly discussion about Olmec ethnic characteristics and possible cultural connections. The sculptures show a range of physiological traits including broad noses, full lips, and distinctive eye shapes that some researchers have interpreted as reflecting African, Asian, or indigenous American ancestry. However, mainstream archaeological consensus holds that the heads represent indigenous American populations with natural variations in physical appearance that exist within any human group. The artistic style emphasizes certain facial characteristics for aesthetic or symbolic reasons, rather than necessarily indicating foreign ethnic origins or transoceanic contact with other civilizations. Recent research has employed advanced imaging techniques including laser scanning and photogrammetry to document precise measurements and surface details of all known heads. These technological approaches enable comparative analysis of carving techniques, artistic styles, and potential relationships between heads from different sites. Chemical analysis of the basalt has confirmed that all heads were carved from stone originating in the Tuxtla Mountains, demonstrating the extensive transport networks and resource acquisition capabilities that Olmec society possessed. Petrographic studies of rock composition provide insights into quarrying locations and possible selection criteria for choosing appropriate stone blocks. Picture yourself travelling across the vast Siberian wilderness, where endless forests of pine and birch stretch toward distant horizons, broken only by winding rivers and ancient hills. Here, in one of Earth's most remote regions, local hunters and reindeer herders tell stories passed down through generations about strange metallic objects buried beneath the forest floor, mysterious cauldrons that have sparked decades of speculation and investigation. The legends speak of large dome-shaped metal structures hidden in the taiga near the Vilyui River Valley in the Sakha Republic of Russia. According to local Yakut folklore, these objects have been present for centuries, described as smooth-walled cauldrons or domes made of unknown metal that remains cool to the touch even during summer heat and warm during winter cold. Indigenous accounts describe the cauldrons as varying in size from small house-like structures to enormous domes capable of sheltering multiple families. The metal is reportedly unlike any known material, thin but incredibly strong, with a peculiar coloration that some describe as reddish, others as yellowish, depending on lighting conditions and individual observation. The first documented Western reports of these objects appeared in the 19th century through Russian explorers and geographers who recorded indigenous testimonies about strange metallic structures in remote forest regions. These early accounts described objects partially buried or concealed by vegetation, accessible through underground passages or natural openings. Local traditions include warnings about the cauldron's locations, suggesting they may be dangerous or cursed. Some stories tell of hunters who sheltered in or near these structures during severe weather, with accounts ranging from beneficial warming effects to mysterious illnesses or strange dreams experienced by those who spent time near the objects. The remote location of reported cauldron sites presents significant challenges for systematic investigation. The Siberian wilderness covers millions of square kilometers of difficult terrain accessible only by helicopter, boat, or winter sledding routes. Weather conditions are extreme, with temperatures ranging from -60 degrees Celsius in winter to +40 degrees Celsius during brief summers. Several expeditions have attempted to locate and document the cauldrons using indigenous guides and traditional knowledge about their approximate locations. However, the vast scale of the search area, combined with harsh environmental conditions and limited funding for remote archaeological investigation, has prevented comprehensive systematic exploration. Satellite imagery analysis has been employed to search for unusual surface features or geometric patterns that might indicate artificial structures beneath forest canopy. While some researchers claim to have identified potential anomalies, definitive identification requires ground verification that remains logistically challenging and expensive. Geological surveys of the Viluai River region reveal complex mineral deposits and unusual geological formations that could potentially explain some aspects of the cauldron accounts. The area contains significant diamond deposits, unique rock formations, and evidence of ancient meteorite impacts that created distinctive landscape features. Some researchers have proposed that the cauldron legends might represent cultural memories of natural geological phenomena, meteorite impact sites, or unusual mineral formations that indigenous populations interpreted through traditional folklore frameworks. These explanations account for persistent cultural traditions without requiring artificial origins. Alternative theories suggest the objects might represent archaeological remains from unknown ancient civilizations, crashed extraterrestrial vehicles, or evidence of advanced technologies that predate conventional historical timelines. However, these interpretations lack supporting archaeological evidence and rely primarily on anecdotal accounts rather than systematic investigation. The scientific challenge lies in distinguishing between genuine archaeological phenomena and folklore elaborations that might transform natural features into supernatural objects through storytelling traditions. Many cultures worldwide have similar legends about mysterious buried objects or hidden structures that serve cultural functions beyond literal description. Recent technological advances in remote sensing and archaeological survey methods offer new possibilities for investigating the cauldron reports. Ground-penetrating radar, magnetometry, and other geophysical survey techniques could potentially identify buried metallic objects or unusual subsurface features if systematic surveys became possible. However, the extreme remoteness and harsh environmental conditions continue limiting research accessibility. The costs associated with mounting properly equipped expeditions to thoroughly investigate reported cauldron locations remain prohibitive for most research institutions, while the uncertain probability of finding verifiable objects makes funding difficult to obtain. Indigenous knowledge preservation projects document traditional stories and cultural knowledge about the cauldrons while respecting local communities' cultural autonomy and intellectual property rights. These initiatives recognize that folklore contains valuable environmental and cultural information, regardless of whether underlying objects exist as described. Environmental research in the region focuses on understanding natural processes that might create unusual landscape features or geological phenomena that could inspire cauldron legends. Permafrost dynamics, mineral formation processes, and impact crater characteristics provide scientific frameworks for evaluating reported observations. The cauldron mystery illustrates broader challenges in investigating remote archaeological claims, where logistical constraints prevent systematic verification, while cultural evidence suggests potentially significant phenomena. Balancing scientific skepticism with respect for indigenous knowledge requires careful methodological approaches. Climate change affecting Siberian ecosystems might eventually make previously inaccessible areas more available for investigation as permafrost melts and transportation routes change. However, the same environmental changes could also damage or destroy any archaeological materials that might exist in these sensitive environments. International collaboration between Russian researchers, indigenous communities, and foreign scientists offers potential pathways for future investigation if sufficient funding and logistical support become available. Such cooperation would ensure appropriate cultural sensitivity while maintaining scientific rigor in evaluation methods. The psychological and cultural dimensions of cauldron legends provide insights into how traditional societies interpret unusual environmental phenomena and incorporate mysterious objects into cultural narratives that serve community functions beyond simple description of physical features. Archaeological precedent exists for buried metallic objects in Siberian contexts, including ancient metallurgical sites, weapon caches, and ritual deposits that demonstrate indigenous metalworking capabilities and cultural practices involving buried objects. These examples provide plausible frameworks for understanding possible archaeological origins of cauldron accounts. The permafrost preservation environment characteristic of much of Siberia could potentially preserve metallic objects for extremely long periods under appropriate conditions. Ice Age archaeological sites in the region have yielded remarkably well-preserved organic and inorganic materials that demonstrate the preservation potential of frozen ground conditions. However, the specific metal characteristics described in cauldron accounts, including unusual temperature properties and unknown composition, don't correspond to any documented archaeological materials or natural metallic formations. These descriptions require either cultural embellishment of actual objects or reference to materials outside current scientific knowledge. The mystery continues attracting interest from researchers, adventure seekers, and enthusiasts who propose various theories about the cauldron's origins and significance. Online communities share satellite imagery analysis, expedition planning, and theoretical discussions while maintaining databases of reported sightings and cultural accounts. Recent expeditions led by independent researchers have attempted to reach reported cauldron locations using modern GPS coordinates and indigenous guidance. However, these efforts have generally failed to locate the described objects, raising questions about location accuracy, object accessibility, or continued existence of any underlying phenomena. The absence of physical evidence despite growing search efforts could indicate several possibilities. The objects never existed as described, they've been destroyed or concealed by natural processes, location information is insufficiently precise, or access requirements exceed current expedition capabilities. Documentary evidence from historical sources provides additional context for evaluating cauldron reports. Russian explorers, Soviet-era surveys, and indigenous oral history projects have recorded various accounts that show both consistency and variation in descriptions across different time periods and cultural sources. The cauldron mystery represents intersection of indigenous knowledge, archaeological possibility, and the challenges inherent in investigating claims about unusual phenomena in remote locations where conventional archaeological methods face practical limitations. Whether ultimately proven real or mythical, the accounts illuminate important aspects of cultural knowledge preservation and environmental interpretation. Scientific approach to evaluating the cauldron reports requires maintaining skeptical objectivity, while acknowledging that absence of evidence isn't necessarily evidence of absence, particularly in contexts where comprehensive investigation remains technically impossible due to logistical constraints. The cultural value of cauldron traditions extends beyond questions of physical existence to encompass their roles in indigenous identity, environmental knowledge, and community cultural continuity. Respecting these cultural dimensions while pursuing scientific investigation represents important methodological considerations for responsible research as we contemplate these mysterious accounts while standing in the vastness of the Siberian taiga, surrounded by endless forest and aware of our own tiny presence in this immense landscape. We're reminded that Earth still contains regions where mystery and uncertainty persist, despite technological advances in exploration and documentation. The Siberian cauldrons, whether real or legendary, represent humanity's continuing encounter with the unknown and the enduring power of mystery to inspire both scientific curiosity and cultural imagination in our ongoing quest to understand the world around us. Chapter 13. The Longyu Caves, China's Underground Enigma. Picture yourself descending into the depths of Zhejiang Province, China, where beneath rolling hills covered with bamboo forests lies one of the most remarkable underground complexes ever discovered. The Longyu Caves, accidentally found in 1992 by local villagers pumping water from what they thought were natural ponds, revealed a vast network of artificial caverns that has puzzled archaeologists and engineers for over 3 decades. The complex consists of 24 massive underground chambers carved directly from solid siltstone bedrock, each connected by tunnels and passages that create a sophisticated subterranean network covering over 30,000 square meters. The caves extend 30 meters below ground level, with ceiling heights reaching up to 20 meters in the largest chambers, volumes that rival modern underground parking garages or subway stations. What makes these caves extraordinary isn't just their size, but the precision and artistry of their construction. The walls and ceilings are covered with intricate patterns of parallel lines, arranged in geometric designs that create consistent decorative themes throughout the entire complex. These carved patterns were executed with remarkable uniformity and skill, suggesting systematic planning and sophisticated understanding of decorative stone carving techniques. The excavation process that created these caverns represents an almost incomprehensible feat of ancient engineering. conservative estimates suggest that over 1 million cubic meters of stone were removed from the bedrock, enough material to fill 400 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The excavated stone has never been found, raising questions about where such enormous quantities of rock debris were transported and used. Modern engineers studying the caves have marvelled at the structural integrity that has kept these chambers stable for what appears to be many centuries or possibly millennia. The carved pillars, arched ceilings, and wall configurations demonstrate sophisticated understanding of load-bearing engineering principles that prevent collapse despite the enormous spans and heights involved. Carbon dating of organic materials found within the caves suggests human activity dating back at least 2,000 years, though the actual construction period remains uncertain. The absence of clear archaeological deposits or stratified cultural layers makes precise dating difficult, while the cave's clean condition suggests either recent use or systematic maintenance over extended periods. The purpose of this massive underground complex remains completely mysterious. The caves contain no obvious residential features, defensive installations, religious iconography, or industrial equipment that might indicate their intended function. The sheer scale suggests they required substantial social organisation and resources to complete, yet historical records make no mention of such ambitious construction projects. Chinese historical texts from various dynasties contain no references to large-scale underground excavation projects in the Longyu region, though this absence might reflect the secretive nature of the construction or loss of relevant historical documentation. The silence of written records adds to the mystery surrounding the cave's origins and purpose. Local folklore provides few clues about the cave's history or cultural significance. Unlike many archaeological sites where oral traditions preserve information about ancient structures, the Longyu region lacks substantial traditional knowledge about underground chambers or major construction activities that might explain the cave's existence. The engineering challenges involved in creating these caverns without modern machinery would have been extraordinary. Excavation would have required coordinated labour forces working in confined spaces with limited lighting, ventilation, and waste removal capabilities. The precision of the carved patterns suggests skilled craftsmen working under controlled conditions rather than hurried construction. Ventilation systems within the caves demonstrate sophisticated understanding of air circulation principles. Natural airflow patterns and strategically placed openings ensure adequate oxygen supply throughout the complex, enabling extended human occupation during construction and subsequent use periods. Water management features include drainage channels, sumps, and level controls that prevent flooding and maintain dry conditions within the chambers. These engineering elements indicate that the caves were designed for regular human occupation, rather than short-term storage or emergency shelter purposes. The carved decorative patterns have been analysed using advanced photographic techniques and computer modelling to understand the systematic approaches used in their execution. The consistency of line spacing, angle relationships, and geometric proportions suggests the use of standardised templates or measuring systems that ensured uniform results across vast surface areas. Toolmark analysis reveals evidence of metal implements used in the carving process, though the specific tool types remain uncertain. The smooth surfaces and precise edges indicate sharp cutting instruments capable of detailed work in hard stone materials, suggesting advanced metallurgical capabilities among the builders. Recent geological surveys using ground-penetrating radar and other remote sensing techniques have revealed additional underground features that may represent undiscovered chambers or connecting passages. These findings suggest the known caves represent only a portion of a larger underground complex that may extend far beyond currently explored areas. The structural engineering principles demonstrated in the caves show remarkable sophistication in understanding load distribution, arch construction, and pillar placement. Computer stress analysis confirms that the cave designs effectively distribute weight loads and resist structural failure under normal geological conditions. Comparative analysis with other ancient underground construction projects worldwide reveals both similarities and unique features that distinguish the Longyu caves from other subterranean archaeological sites. While underground chambers exist in various cultures, few match the scale, precision, and systematic organisation evident in this complex. The absence of archaeological artefacts within the caves presents additional puzzles for interpretation. Most ancient construction sites contain tool fragments, pottery sherds, organic debris, or other materials that provide insights into construction methods and cultural contexts. The Longyu caves appear remarkably clean and artifact-free. Environmental analysis of the cave's interior atmosphere reveals stable temperature and humidity conditions that would have been suitable for various activities including storage, workshops, ceremonial functions, or residential occupation. These favourable conditions suggest the caves were designed with human comfort and functionality in mind. Modern conservation efforts focus on protecting the caves from damage caused by increased tourism and environmental changes following their discovery. Advanced monitoring systems track structural stability, atmospheric conditions, and visitor impacts to ensure long-term preservation of this remarkable site. Recent archaeological excavations in the surrounding area have searched for evidence of related surface structures, waste deposits, or other features that might illuminate the cave's purpose and cultural context. These investigations have yielded limited results, maintaining the mystery surrounding the complex's origins. The economic implications of constructing such an enormous underground complex would have been substantial for any ancient society. The labour, materials, and organisational resources required suggest either extreme wealth, compelling practical necessity, or extraordinary cultural significance that justified the investment. Theories about the cave's purpose have included underground cities, royal tombs, religious complexes, military installations, and storage facilities, though none adequately explains all observed features or the scale of construction involved. Each proposed function faces significant evidential challenges. The psychological impact of working in these vast underground spaces would have been considerable for ancient builders and users. The scale and acoustics create cathedral-like atmospheres that suggest possible ceremonial or religious functions, though no specific religious iconography has been identified. Acoustic analysis reveals interesting sound properties within the chambers, including echoes, resonance patterns, and amplification effects that might have been intentionally designed for musical performances, ceremonial recitations, or other activities requiring enhanced sound projection. The regional geological context provides insights into construction challenges and opportunities. The local siltstone proved ideal for carving while providing structural stability, suggesting the builders specifically selected this location for its geological advantages rather than convenience or proximity to surface settlements. International collaboration among archaeologists, engineers, and geologists continues advancing research through multidisciplinary approaches that combine diverse expertise. These investigations employ cutting-edge analytical techniques while respecting cultural heritage values and conservation requirements. The Longyu Caves represent one of China's most significant archaeological mysteries, demonstrating remarkable ancient engineering capabilities while raising fundamental questions about historical construction projects and their purposes. Whether ultimately explained through new discoveries or remaining mysterious, they stand as testament to human ambition and technical achievement. As we explore these vast underground chambers, our footsteps echoing in spaces carved from living rock by unknown hands centuries ago, we encounter evidence of human capability and determination that challenges our understanding of ancient technological limitations and social organisation. Chapter 14, The Bosnian Pyramid Complex, Hills of Controversy. Imagine standing in the verdant valley of Visoko, Bosnia and Herzegovina, where rolling hills covered in dense forest have sparked one of archaeology's most contentious debates. Here, amateur archaeologist Samir Osmanagic claims to have discovered the world's largest pyramid complex, challenging conventional understanding of European prehistory while generating intense scholarly controversy about the nature of archaeological evidence and interpretation. The central feature of Osmanagic's claims is Vysochika Hill, which he identifies as the Pyramid of the Sun, allegedly standing 220 meters tall and oriented precisely toward cosmic north. According to his interpretations, this natural hill conceals a massive artificial pyramid, constructed from concrete blocks and covered with soil and vegetation over thousands of years. Surrounding hills are claimed to represent additional pyramids, including the Pyramid of the Moon, Plieševica Hill, the Pyramid of the Dragon, Kutnica Hill, and several smaller structures that supposedly form an integrated complex connected by underground tunnels. Osmanagic proposes that this complex represents advanced prehistoric civilization that flourished in the Balkans over 12,000 years ago. The controversy began in 2005 when Osmanagic first announced his discoveries, and initiated excavations that have continued intermittently for nearly 2 decades. His work has attracted international attention, tourism revenue, and substantial local support while facing severe criticism from mainstream archaeological institutions worldwide. Geological surveys of the Visoko Hills reveal natural formations consisting of layered sedimentary rocks, primarily sandstone and conglomerate deposits formed through normal geological processes over millions of years. The regular layering that Osman-Agich interprets as artificial construction blocks represents typical stratification patterns found in sedimentary geology throughout the region. Professional archaeologists and geologists who have examined the site report finding no evidence of artificial construction, worked stone surfaces, or archaeological deposits that would indicate ancient human construction activities. Core samples, stratigraphic analysis, and detailed geological mapping support interpretations of natural hill formation through standard geological processes. The European Association of Archaeologists issued statements expressing concern about the excavations and their potential damage to genuine archaeological sites in the Visoko area. Medieval settlements, Roman remains, and other authentic historical sites in the region could be damaged by excavation activities focused on pursuing unsubstantiated pyramid theories. Osman-Agich's claims about advanced prehistoric civilizations contradict established archaeological understanding of European prehistory based on extensive excavation and research throughout the Balkans. No evidence exists for complex civilizations capable of massive pyramid construction in prehistoric Bosnia, while abundant archaeological evidence documents the actual cultural development of the region. The tunnel systems that Osman-Agich claims connect the pyramids appear to represent natural cave formations or medieval mining activities, rather than ancient construction projects. Speleological analysis reveals geological processes and historical human activities that adequately explain underground features without requiring prehistoric pyramid builders. Scientific dating methods applied to materials from the excavations have not produced evidence supporting great antiquity for artificial construction. Radiocarbon dating of organic materials and other chronological techniques indicate activity periods consistent with known historical occupation rather than prehistoric pyramid construction. The geometric measurements that supposedly demonstrate artificial pyramid construction fall within normal ranges for natural hill formations and don't require human intervention to explain. Hills worldwide display various degrees of symmetry, orientation patterns, and geometric relationships through natural geological and erosional processes. Media attention surrounding the Bosnian pyramid claims has focused more on sensational aspects than rigorous scientific evaluation. Popular documentaries, internet discussions, and tourism promotion have amplified unsubstantiated claims while giving limited attention to scientific criticism and geological evidence. The economic impact of pyramid tourism has created local interest in maintaining the site's controversial status regardless of scientific evidence. Tourism revenue, employment opportunities, and regional recognition provide practical incentives for supporting pyramid interpretations despite scholarly consensus about natural origins. Educational implications of the Bosnian pyramid controversy extend beyond specific claims to encompass broader issues about scientific methodology, evidence evaluation, and the relationship between amateur enthusiasm and professional archaeological practice. The case illustrates challenges in distinguishing between legitimate alternative hypotheses and scientifically unsupported speculation. The peer review process that characterizes professional archaeology has consistently rejected pyramid claims based on insufficient evidence and methodological problems. Scholarly journals, professional conferences, and academic institutions maintain standards for evaluating archaeological claims that the Bosnian pyramid hypotheses haven't met. Alternative archaeology movements often point to the Bosnian pyramids as examples of establishment resistance to revolutionary discoveries, though the scientific consensus reflects evidence-based evaluation rather than institutional prejudice. Distinguishing between legitimate scientific skepticism and closed-minded rejection requires careful attention to methodological rigor and empirical evidence. The role of amateur researchers in archaeology presents complex challenges exemplified by the Bosnian pyramid controversy. While amateur contributions have made important discoveries, the scientific evaluation of claims requires specialized training, methodological expertise, and peer review processes that ensure evidence-based conclusions. Cultural nationalism and regional pride have influenced reception of the pyramid claims within Bosnia and Herzegovina, where some view international criticism as dismissive of local cultural potential. These social dynamics complicate scientific evaluation by introducing political and cultural factors into archaeological interpretation. The technological claims associated with the Bosnian pyramids, including assertions about energy generation, healing properties, and advanced construction techniques, lack supporting evidence and contradict established understanding of physics, engineering, and ancient technological capabilities. International archaeological missions that have investigated the site report consistent findings of natural geological formations without evidence of artificial construction. These independent evaluations by qualified specialists from multiple countries provide convergent evidence against pyramid interpretations. The methodology employed in pyramid excavations has been criticised for lacking proper documentation, stratigraphic control, and scientific rigour expected in professional archaeological investigation. Without systematic recording and analysis, excavation activities may destroy genuine archaeological evidence while failing to support pyramid hypotheses. Conservation concerns focus on potential damage to authentic archaeological sites in the Visoko region through excavation activities pursuing unsubstantiated claims. Medieval Bosnian sites and other genuine historical remains require protection from damage caused by misguided archaeological activities. Educational outreach efforts attempt to explain geological processes and archaeological methodology to public audiences interested in the pyramid claims. These programs aim to improve scientific literacy while respecting public interest in archaeological mysteries and alternative historical hypotheses. The global context of pyramid construction provides comparative frameworks for evaluating Bosnian claims. Authentic pyramid construction required specific cultural conditions, technological capabilities, and social organization that archaeological evidence documents in places like Egypt, Mexico, and other regions where pyramid building actually occurred. Legal and administrative challenges arise when amateur archaeological activities conflict with professional standards and heritage protection requirements. Balancing public interest, tourism development, and scientific integrity requires careful policy frameworks that protect cultural heritage while allowing legitimate research. The Bosnian pyramid controversy illustrates broader tensions between popular interest in ancient mysteries and scientific approaches to understanding the past. Public fascination with lost civilizations and hidden knowledge conflicts with archaeological emphasis on evidence-based interpretation and methodological rigor. Media literacy issues emerge when sensationalized presentations of archaeological claims receive widespread attention without adequate scientific context or critical evaluation. Educational systems must address public understanding of how scientific knowledge develops and how to evaluate extraordinary claims responsibly. The persistence of pyramid beliefs despite scientific refutation demonstrates the power of confirmation bias, selective evidence interpretation, and motivated reasoning in maintaining preferred conclusions regardless of contradictory evidence. These psychological factors affect public reception of scientific information across various domains. International cooperation in addressing pseudo-archaeological claims requires coordination between professional organizations, educational institutions, and media outlets to ensure accurate information reaches public audiences. These efforts aim to promote scientific literacy while maintaining public interest in legitimate archaeological discoveries. The Bosnian Pyramid complex continues generating controversy as excavation activities persist despite scientific consensus about natural origins. The case provides important lessons about scientific methodology, public engagement with archaeology, and the challenges of distinguishing between legitimate mysteries and unsupported speculation. As we consider the rolling hills of Visoko, we confront fundamental questions about how we evaluate claims about the past and distinguish between genuine archaeological mysteries deserving investigation and hypotheses that lack empirical support. The landscape itself remains beautiful and geologically interesting, without requiring pyramid builders to explain its formation. Chapter 15: The Giant's Causeway Formation Theories. Picture yourself standing on the rugged coast of Northern Ireland, where the Atlantic Ocean crashes against one of geology's most spectacular phenomena, the Giant's Causeway. Here, approximately 40,000 interlocking basalt columns rise from the sea like a natural cathedral. their geometric precision so remarkable that local legends attribute their creation to giants rather than geological processes. The causeway consists of hexagonal stone columns, most perfectly six-sided, though some display 5, 7 or 8 sides, that fit together with such mathematical precision they appear almost artificially constructed. These columns extend from the cliff tops down into the ocean, creating stepping stone pathways that seem designed for mythical giants travelling between Ireland and Scotland. Irish folklore tells of the giant Finn McCool, Fionn McCumhale, who built the causeway to reach Scotland and challenged the giant Benandonna to combat. When Finn realised Benandonna's enormous size, he fled home where his clever wife Una disguised him as a baby. Benandonna, seeing the infant's size and fearing the father's proportions, destroyed the causeway in his retreat, leaving only the remnants we see today. Similar basalt formations on Scotland's Fingal's Cave and surrounding islands seem to confirm the legend's transoceanic connection, as if a single geological structure once connected the two regions. The mathematical precision of the columns and their perfect interlocking arrangement defied easy explanation for centuries before modern geological understanding developed. Scientific investigation of the Giant's Causeway began in earnest during the 18th century, when early geologists attempted to understand the formation processes that could create such remarkably regular stone structures. The debate initially centred on competing theories about igneous versus sedimentary origins, with heated discussions about whether the columns formed from cooling lava or accumulated sediments. The breakthrough came with understanding of volcanic processes and cooling patterns in igneous rocks. When volcanic lava cools slowly and uniformly, it contracts in predictable patterns that minimize stress through the formation of geometric shapes. Hexagonal columns represent the most efficient geometric solution for relieving cooling stress in thick lava flows. The Giant's Causeway formed approximately 50 to 60 million years ago during a period of intense volcanic activity that affected much of the North Atlantic region. Massive basalt lava flows erupted from fissures in the Earth's crust, creating thick layers that cooled slowly and uniformly under specific temperature and pressure conditions that promoted columnar jointing. The cooling process that creates columnar basalt requires precise conditions rarely achieved in nature. The lava must be chemically homogeneous, cool slowly and evenly from the top down, and remain undisturbed during the crucial cooling period when thermal contraction creates the characteristic fracture patterns that define column boundaries. Mathematical analysis of columnar basalt reveals the geometric principles that govern column formation. Hexagonal shapes predominate because six-sided polygons provide optimal stress relief during thermal contraction, though local variations in cooling rates and rock composition can produce columns with different numbers of sides. The size and proportions of individual columns depend on cooling rates, lava thickness, and chemical composition. Faster cooling produces smaller columns, while slower cooling allows larger columns to develop. The Giant's Causeway columns range from tiny formations only inches across to massive structures several feet in diameter. Detailed geological mapping has revealed the complex sequence of lava flows that created the causeway formation. Multiple eruption episodes produced distinct layers with different cooling histories, resulting in variations in column size, orientation, and geometric properties throughout the formation. The preservation of the Giant's Causeway owes to both geological and environmental factors. The hard basalt rock resists weathering better than surrounding softer rocks, while coastal erosion has exposed and highlighted the columnar structures by removing overlying sediments and softer geological layers. Similar columnar basalt formations occur worldwide wherever appropriate geological conditions existed during volcanic episodes. Famous examples include Devil's Tower in Wyoming, the Organ Pipes in Namibia, and numerous sites in Iceland, demonstrating that the processes creating the Giant's Causeway operate globally under suitable conditions. The study of columnar jointing has provided insights into fundamental physical processes governing thermal stress, crack propagation, and geometric optimization in natural systems. These principles apply to various phenomena from drying mud patterns to crystal growth, illustrating how mathematics and physics govern natural pattern formation. Modern research techniques including high-resolution mapping, chemical analysis, and computer modeling have revealed additional details about the formation process. Isotope analysis confirms the volcanic origins and provides precise dating, while structural analysis reveals the stress patterns that controlled column orientation and geometry. The cultural significance of the Giant's Causeway extends far beyond its geological importance. The site represents intersection of natural wonder, cultural mythology, and scientific understanding that has inspired artists, writers, and researchers for centuries. Its designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Site recognizes both natural and cultural values. Tourism at the Giant's Causeway presents ongoing conservation challenges as millions of visitors annually experience this remarkable geological phenomenon. Balancing public access with preservation requirements involves careful management of foot traffic, erosion control, and educational programs that promote understanding while protecting the site. Educational programs at the Causeway emphasize both geological processes and cultural heritage, helping visitors understand how scientific knowledge developed historically while appreciating the mythology and folklore that reflect human attempts to explain extraordinary natural phenomena before geological science existed. The artistic and literary inspiration provided by the Giant's Causeway appears in countless works spanning centuries of Irish and international culture. From ancient legends to contemporary photography, the site continues stimulating creative expression that celebrates both natural beauty and human imagination. Climate change impacts on coastal sites like the Giant's Causeway include rising sea levels, increased storm intensity, and changing temperature patterns that affect erosion rates and structural stability. Long-term monitoring programs track these environmental changes and their effects on geological preservation. The role of the Giant's Causeway in the history of geological science cannot be overstated. The site provided crucial evidence for early theories about igneous rock formation, volcanic processes, and the relationship between chemistry and crystal structure that helped establish modern geological understanding. Research continues at the Giant's Causeway, using increasingly sophisticated techniques to understand fine details of the formation process. Microscopic analysis reveals crystal structures, while computer modelling simulates the thermal and stress conditions that produce the remarkable geometric patterns. Conservation science applied to basalt preservation addresses various threats including salt weathering, freeze-thaw cycles, and human impact. Advanced materials science helps develop protective treatments that preserve rock integrity while maintaining natural appearance and allowing continued research. The international significance of columnar basalt research extends to planetary geology, where similar formations have been identified on Mars and other planetary bodies. Understanding terrestrial columnar jointing helps interpret geological processes on other worlds while highlighting Earth's geological diversity. Educational outreach programs use the Giant's Causeway to teach broader concepts about Earth sciences, including plate tectonics, volcanic processes, mineral crystallization, and geological time. The site's visual impact and cultural familiarity make it an ideal case study for science education at all levels. The economic impact of the Giant's Causeway on regional tourism demonstrates how geological heritage sites can contribute to local economic development while supporting scientific research and conservation efforts. Sustainable tourism models balance economic benefits with preservation requirements. Collaborative research projects involve institutions worldwide in studying various aspects of the Giant's Causeway formation and preservation. International cooperation advances scientific understanding while sharing conservation expertise and educational resources across cultural and institutional boundaries. The philosophical implications of the Giant's Causeway extend beyond geology to encompass questions about the relationship between scientific and mythological explanations of natural phenomena. The site illustrates how human understanding evolves from folklore to systematic investigation without necessarily diminishing wonder and appreciation. Future research directions include detailed analysis of formation mechanisms, improved dating techniques, and enhanced understanding of preservation challenges. Advanced imaging technologies may reveal previously unnoticed features, while computer modelling continues refining theories about columnar jointing processes. The Giant's Causeway stands as testament to the power of natural processes to create forms of extraordinary beauty and mathematical precision. Whether interpreted through geological science or cultural mythology, the site represents human fascination with natural patterns and the ongoing quest to understand the forces that shape our planet. As we walk across these remarkable hexagonal stepping stones, feeling the ocean spray and hearing the crash of waves against ancient volcanic rock, we experience direct connection to both Earth's geological history and humanity's enduring desire to explain and celebrate the natural world's most extraordinary phenomena. Chapter 16, The Tarim Basin Mummies Desert Preservation. Envision travelling across the vast Tarim Basin in western China, where the Taklamakan Desert's shifting sands conceal one of archaeology's most remarkable discoveries. Here, in one of Earth's most arid environments, naturally mummified human remains have been preserved for up to 4,000 years, revealing unexpected cultural diversity and challenging conventional understanding of ancient Central Asian populations. The Tarim Basin mummies represent over 1,000 individuals discovered at various sites throughout the region, including Lulan, Nia, Churchen, and Hami. These naturally preserved remains provide unprecedented insights into the lives, cultures, and genetic heritage of ancient peoples who inhabited the Silk Road corridors long before historical records documented trans-Eurasian trade networks. The preservation conditions in the Tarim Basin create natural mummification through extreme desiccation, high salt content, and stable temperatures that prevent bacterial decay. Unlike Egyptian artificial mummification, these remains were preserved accidentally through environmental conditions that inhibited decomposition while maintaining tissue integrity for millennia. The mummies display remarkable ethnic diversity, with individuals showing Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and mixed ancestral features that reflect the complex population movements and interactions that characterized ancient Central Asia. This diversity challenges simplistic models of ancient population distribution and suggests more complex migration patterns than previously recognized. Perhaps most famous is the beauty of Lulong, a 3,800-year-old woman whose remarkably preserved features, elaborate clothing, and burial goods provide insights into Bronze Age cultures along ancient trade routes. Her European-like features, blonde hair, and sophisticated textile work demonstrate the presence of Western Eurasian populations in Central Asia millennia before the historical Silk Road period. The textiles preserved with the mummies represent some of the world's finest examples of ancient weaving, dyeing, and clothing construction techniques. Woolen garments, felt hats, leather boots, and intricate textile patterns reveal sophisticated craft traditions and possible connections to European, Middle Eastern, and East Asian textile technologies. Carbon dating places the earliest mummies at approximately 2000 BCE, with continued burials occurring through various periods up to about 400 CE. This chronological span encompasses crucial periods in Central Asian cultural development and provides temporal frameworks for understanding population changes and cultural transmission. Genetic analysis of the mummies has revealed unexpected population histories and migration patterns. DNA studies indicate connections to various Eurasian populations, including early European farmer groups, Siberian populations, and later East Asian genetic contributions that reflect the region's position as a crossroads of continental population movements. The burial practices associated with the mummies demonstrate diverse cultural traditions, including extended and flexed body positions, varied grave orientations, and different types of burial goods that suggest multiple cultural groups with distinct religious and social practices coexisting in the region. Dietary analysis through stomach contents, isotope studies, and associated plant remains reveal subsistence strategies based on mixed agriculture and animal husbandry. The mummies' remains show evidence of consuming wheat, barley, millet, and various domesticated animals, indicating sophisticated food production systems in challenging desert environments. Pathological studies of the mummified remains provide insights into ancient health conditions, disease patterns, and life expectancies. Evidence of arthritis, respiratory conditions, injuries, and other health issues illuminates the physical challenges faced by ancient desert dwellers, while revealing medical knowledge and treatment practices. The technology and tools buried with the mummies include wooden implements, metal objects, and leather goods that demonstrate sophisticated craft production and possible trade connections with distant regions. Analysis of materials and manufacturing techniques provides evidence for technological transfer and cultural exchange along ancient routes. Environmental reconstruction of ancient Tarim Basin conditions reveals significantly different climate patterns during the mummies' lifetimes. Paleoclimatic research indicates wetter conditions that supported larger human populations and more extensive agricultural activities than the current desert environment permits. The discovery history of the Tarim mummies involves early 20th century expeditions by European and American explorers, followed by systematic Chinese archaeological investigations that have documented sites and remains using modern scientific methods. These investigations have transformed understanding of ancient Central Asian cultures. Conservation challenges for the mummies include environmental threats from climate change, increased tourism, and the need for specialized storage and display facilities that maintain preservation conditions while allowing scientific study and public education. Advanced conservation techniques help protect these irreplaceable cultural resources. Recent archaeological discoveries continue expanding the corpus of Tarim Basin mummies and associated cultural materials. New excavations reveal additional burial sites, settlement remains, and artifacts that provide broader context for understanding ancient life in this remarkable desert environment. The linguistic implications of the Tarim Basin cultures include possible connections to Tocharian languages, an extinct branch of the Indo-European language family known from later manuscripts found in the region. Reconstructing ancient languages and their relationships provides insights into population movements and cultural transmission. International collaboration in Tarim Basin research involves Chinese institutions working with researchers worldwide to analyze mummies, artifacts, and environmental data using advanced techniques. These cooperative projects advance scientific understanding while respecting cultural heritage and research ethics. The museum displays and public education programs featuring Tarim Basin mummies have generated significant interest while raising questions about appropriate treatment of human remains and cultural sensitivity in archaeological presentation. Balancing scientific education with respect for ancient peoples requires careful consideration of ethical issues. Agricultural archaeology in the Tarim Basin reveals irrigation systems, field boundaries, and crop remains that illuminate ancient farming techniques adapted to desert conditions. Understanding these agricultural adaptations provides insights into sustainability practices and environmental management in challenging climates. The role of the Tarim Basin in early Silk Road development appears more significant than previously recognized, with evidence of long-distance trade connections predating the historical period by centuries or millennia. These early exchange networks may have established foundations for later commercial and cultural transmission. Comparative analysis with other naturally mummified remains worldwide reveals the unique preservation conditions and cultural contexts that characterize the Tarim Basin discoverers. Similar preservation occurs in other arid environments, but few match the diversity and temporal depth of the Central Asian examples. The technological analysis of mummy artifacts includes examination of metallurgy, woodworking, textile production, and other craft specializations that reveal sophisticated technical knowledge and possible connections to distant cultural traditions. These studies illuminate ancient technology transfer and innovation processes. Climate change research uses Tarim Basin archaeological evidence to understand past environmental conditions and human adaptations to changing climate patterns. Ancient responses to environmental challenges provide insights relevant to contemporary climate adaptation strategies. The cultural heritage significance of the Tarim Basin mummies extends beyond scientific value to encompass their importance for understanding human diversity, cultural development, and the complex histories of Central Asian peoples. These discoveries contribute to global understanding of human cultural achievement and adaptation. Educational programs based on Tarim Basin research address topics including ancient cultures, environmental adaptation, preservation science, and archaeological methodology. The mummies provide compelling case studies for teaching about human diversity, cultural interaction, and scientific investigation methods. Future research directions include continued excavation, advanced analytical techniques, and interdisciplinary approaches that combine archaeology, genetics, environmental science, and other specializations. New technologies may reveal previously unknown aspects of ancient Tarim Basin cultures and their broader connections. The ethical considerations surrounding Tarim Basin mummy research include questions about appropriate treatment of human remains, community consultation, and the balance between scientific investigation and cultural respect. These issues require ongoing dialogue between researchers, local communities, and cultural heritage professionals. Tourism management at Tarim Basin sites attempts to balance public interest with site preservation and cultural sensitivity. Sustainable tourism practices help support local communities while protecting archaeological resources and promoting educational experiences for visitors. The broader implications of Tarim Basin discoveries for understanding human migration, cultural transmission, and adaptation in challenging environments continue influencing archaeological theory and methodology. These finds demonstrate the importance of desert environments in human cultural development and the need for expanded archaeological investigation in previously understudied regions. As we contemplate these remarkably preserved ancient faces emerging from desert sands, we encounter direct connections to human lives lived thousands of years ago in one of Earth's most challenging environments. The Tarim Basin mummies remind us that human adaptability, cultural creativity, and the desire to create lasting communities have enabled our species to thrive in diverse conditions throughout our history. Chapter 17: The Bimini Road Formation Underwater Geometry. Picture yourself diving through the crystal-clear waters of the Bahamas, where sunlight filters down through azure depths to illuminate what appears to be an ancient stone roadway lying on the ocean floor. The Bimini Road, discovered in 1968 off the coast of North Bimini Island, consists of a linear arrangement of rectangular limestone blocks that has sparked decades of debate about natural versus artificial origins. The formation stretches approximately 700 meters in a generally straight line along the seafloor, at depths ranging from 2 to 8 meters below the surface. The limestone blocks, some measuring up to 4 meters in length, are arranged in what appears to be a purposeful linear pattern that resembles constructed roadways or harbour structures from ancient civilizations. The discovery gained immediate attention due to its apparent geometric regularity and the widespread cultural fascination with lost civilizations like Atlantis. Edgar Cayce, the famous American psychic, had predicted that Atlantis remnants would be discovered near Bimini in 1968 or 1969, and the formation's discovery seemed to fulfill this prophecy for believers in ancient advanced civilizations. Initial investigations by marine archaeologist Dr. Manson Valentine and others documented the linear arrangement of blocks and their apparently artificial characteristics. The blocks appear to be cut and fitted with some degree of precision, while their linear arrangement across several hundred meters of seafloor suggests systematic placement rather than random natural deposition. However, subsequent geological investigation has revealed that the Bimini Road most likely represents a natural formation created through well-understood geological processes operating in shallow marine environments. The limestone blocks appear to be fragments of beach rock formation that broke along natural fracture lines and were subsequently arranged by wave action and tidal currents. Beach rock formation occurs in tropical shallow water environments, where calcium carbonate precipitation cements sand and shell fragments into solid limestone layers. These formations are common throughout the Caribbean and other warm water regions, often creating linear structures that parallel ancient or current shorelines. The fracturing patterns observed in the Bimini blocks follow natural joint systems that develop in sedimentary rocks due to stress patterns during formation and subsequent geological processes. These fractures tend to create rectangular blocks when beach rock layers break apart, producing geometries that can appear artificially constructed to casual observers. Detailed geological mapping has revealed that the Bimini Formation lies along strike with similar beach rock formations throughout the region, suggesting it represents part of a continuous geological structure rather than an isolated artificial construction. The orientation and elevation of the blocks correspond to predictable patterns for natural beach rock formation. Core sampling and microscopic analysis of the limestone blocks reveal internal structures consistent with natural beach rock formation, rather than quarried and worked building stones. The microscopic textures, mineral compositions, and sedimentary structures match those found in documented beach rock formations rather than constructed masonry. Carbon dating of shell fragments and other organic materials within the limestone blocks indicates formation dates within the last few thousand years, consistent with natural beach rock development during periods of slightly higher sea levels. These dates align with known geological processes rather than ancient civilization construction timelines. The underwater topography surrounding the formation shows evidence of wave action, tidal scouring, and sediment transport that could account for the linear arrangement of blocks after they broke away from parent beach rock formations. Current patterns and bathymetric features support natural explanation for block distribution. Wave tank experiments and computer modelling have demonstrated how natural marine processes can create linear arrangements of rectangular blocks from fractured beach rock formations. These studies show that tidal currents and wave action tend to organise loose blocks into linear patterns that appear constructed but result from natural hydrodynamic sorting. Comparative analysis with known ancient harbour structures, roadways, and other constructed marine features reveal significant differences in construction techniques, block preparation, and arrangement patterns. Authentic ancient marine construction typically shows evidence of deliberate design, specialised quarrying, and engineering features absent from the Bimini Formation. Archaeological investigation has failed to discover associated cultural materials that would typically accompany ancient construction projects. No tools, pottery, structural hardware, or other artefacts have been found that might indicate human construction activity, while natural formations wouldn't be expected to contain such materials. The geological context of the Bahama Banks provides additional evidence for natural formation processes. The entire region consists of limestone formations created through similar carbonate precipitation processes, operating over millions of years under various sea level conditions that created diverse limestone structures. Recent submarine surveys using side-scan sonar, sub-bottom profiling, and other advanced marine survey techniques have mapped the broader geological context of the Bimini Formation. These investigations reveal it as part of extensive natural limestone features, rather than an isolated artificial structure. The persistence of artificial interpretation, despite geological evidence, demonstrates how initial impressions and cultural expectations can influence perception of natural phenomena. The geometric appearance of natural formations can trigger pattern recognition responses that lead observers to perceive intentional design where none exists. Educational programs about the Bimini Road emphasize the importance of scientific methodology in distinguishing between natural and artificial phenomena. Understanding geological processes helps viewers appreciate the remarkable ability of natural forces to create apparently designed structures through consistent physical laws operating over extended time periods. The tourism industry around the Bimini Road has developed based partly on its mysterious reputation, creating economic interests in maintaining ambiguous interpretations regardless of scientific evidence. Balancing tourism benefits with accurate scientific education presents ongoing challenges for heritage interpretation and visitor management. Marine conservation efforts in the Bimini area focus on protecting coral reefs, seagrass beds, and other marine ecosystems that surround the limestone formation. These conservation programs provide context for understanding the natural processes that create and maintain limestone structures in tropical marine environments. The broader context of Bahamian geology includes numerous limestone formations, blue holes, and other carbonate structures created through similar natural processes operating under various sea level conditions over geological time. The Bimini Road represents one example of widespread natural limestone formation throughout the region. Underwater archaeological techniques developed for investigating the Bimini Road have advanced methods for distinguishing between natural and artificial submarine features. These methodological improvements benefit legitimate underwater archaeology while helping identify misinterpreted natural formations. The cultural impact of the Bimini Road extends beyond archaeological debates to encompass broader questions about how scientific knowledge develops and how popular culture interprets ambiguous evidence. The formation serves as a case study in the relationship between scientific investigation and public interpretation of mysterious phenomena. International collaboration in marine geology research uses sites like the Bimini Road to study carbonate formation processes, sea level changes, and shallow water geological environments. These scientific investigations contribute to understanding similar formations worldwide while advancing marine geological knowledge. The philosophical implications of natural versus artificial interpretation encompass questions about human pattern recognition, the desire to find meaning in natural phenomena, and the relationship between scientific explanation and cultural imagination. These broader issues extend far beyond specific archaeological claims. Recent technological advances in underwater survey and analysis continue providing new data about the Bimini Road formation and its geological context. High-resolution imaging, chemical analysis, and three-dimensional mapping techniques enable increasingly detailed study of formation processes and structural characteristics. Climate change research uses formations like the Bimini Road to understand past sea level changes and their effects on shallow water limestone formation. These studies contribute to broader understanding of how coastal environments respond to changing climate conditions over geological and historical time periods. The educational value of the Bimini Road controversy extends to teaching about scientific methodology, evidence evaluation, and the importance of peer review in developing reliable knowledge about natural phenomena. The case provides practical examples of how scientific consensus develops through systematic investigation. Future research directions include continued monitoring of the formation stability, detailed analysis of formation processes, and comparative studies with similar limestone structures throughout the Caribbean region. These investigations will further advance understanding of natural carbonate formation in shallow marine environments. As we glide through the clear Bahamian waters above these intriguing limestone blocks, we encounter a formation that challenges our perceptions while illustrating the remarkable ability of natural processes to create patterns that appear designed. The Bimini Road reminds us that the natural world contains countless phenomena that inspire wonder and curiosity, whether interpreted through scientific understanding or cultural imagination. The formation stands as testament to both the power of natural geological processes and the human tendency to seek patterns and meaning in our environment. Whether ultimately viewed as natural limestone formation or mysterious archaeological site, it continues inspiring questions about the relationship between scientific investigation and the enduring human fascination with mystery and discovery. Chapter 18, The Crystal Skulls, Modern Mysteries. Picture yourself in the dim corridors of a museum storage facility, where behind locked glass cases rest some of the most controversial artifacts in modern archaeology. Crystal skulls carved from quartz that have captured public imagination for over a century while generating intense scholarly debate about their origins and authenticity. The crystal skulls entered popular consciousness through claims of ancient Mesoamerican origin, with stories suggesting they were created by Maya, Aztec, or other pre-Columbian civilizations using mysterious technologies that allowed precise carving of extremely hard quartz crystal. The most famous examples include the Mitchell-Hedges skull, the British Museum skull, and several others held in museums and private collections worldwide. The Mitchell-Hedges skull, discovered allegedly at the Maya site of Lubantun in Belize during the 1920s, represents perhaps the most celebrated example. According to explorer F.A. Mitchell-Hedges and his adopted daughter Anna, the skull was found beneath a collapsed altar after years of excavation, though the discovery circumstances remain disputed and poorly documented. The skull itself demonstrates remarkable craftsmanship, carved from a single piece of clear quartz crystal with anatomically accurate proportions and detailed features, including a detachable jaw piece. The quality of workmanship initially suggested advanced ancient technology, particularly given quartz's hardness and the precision required for such detailed carving without modern tools. However, detailed scientific analysis has revealed troubling inconsistencies with claims of ancient origin. Microscopic examination of carved surfaces shows tool marks consistent with modern rotary cutting implements rather than ancient carving techniques. The precision and uniformity of these marks indicate use of electrical tools not available to pre-Columbian civilizations. Art historical analysis reveals additional problems with ancient attribution claims. The skull's artistic style doesn't match known pre-Columbian artistic traditions, while the anatomical accuracy reflects modern understanding of human skull structure, rather than the stylized approaches characteristic of ancient Mesoamerican art. Provenance research has uncovered questionable acquisition histories for most famous crystal skulls. Many lack reliable documentation of their discovery contexts, or appear in collections without clear chains of custody that would support claims of archaeological origin. The absence of proper archaeological context raises significant red flags about authenticity. The British Museum conducted comprehensive analysis of their crystal skull, using electron microscopy and other advanced techniques. Results confirmed the presence of modern tool marks and revealed that the skull was likely carved in the 19th or early 20th century, probably in Germany where such decorative objects were commonly produced for commercial markets. Similar analyses of other museum crystal skulls have yielded consistent results, indicating modern manufacture rather than ancient origin. The Smithsonian Institution, Musée du Quai Branly, and other major museums have published findings that contradict claims of pre-Columbian authenticity for crystal skull collections. The techniques required to carve such detailed objects from solid quartz would have been available to 19th and early 20th century craftsmen using rotary tools, abrasive compounds, and other industrial technologies that emerged during this period. Historical records document commercial production of decorative crystal objects in European workshops. Chemical analysis has revealed additional evidence against ancient origin claims. Some skulls show traces of modern polishing compounds and synthetic abrasives that weren't available to ancient civilizations. The crystal itself often comes from sources not associated with pre-Columbian trade networks or geological regions accessible to ancient Mesoamerican peoples. The cultural context of crystal skull popularity reveals connections to 19th century spiritualism, occultism, and romantic fascination with lost civilizations that characterized this period. Crystal objects were believed to possess mystical properties, while public interest in ancient mysteries created markets for objects that seemed to confirm exotic historical theories. The role of art dealers and collectors in promoting crystal skull authenticity claims illustrates how commercial interests can influence archaeological interpretation. Objects with mysterious ancient origins command higher prices and generate more public interest than acknowledged modern reproductions, creating financial incentives for maintaining ambiguous provenance stories. Educational institutions have used crystal skulls as case studies in archaeological methodology, demonstrating how scientific analysis can distinguish between authentic artifacts and modern reproductions. These educational programs emphasize the importance of provenance research, technical analysis, and peer review in evaluating archaeological claims. The persistence of crystal skull beliefs despite scientific debunking demonstrates the power of popular culture and confirmation bias in maintaining preferred interpretations regardless of contradictory evidence. Movies, books, and internet discussions continue promoting ancient origin theories despite scholarly consensus about modern manufacture. Archaeological ethics concerning crystal skulls encompass questions about museum responsibilities, public education, and the appropriate treatment of objects with disputed authenticity. Balancing public interest with accurate historical information requires careful presentation that neither sensationalizes nor dismisses cultural fascination with mysterious objects. The broader implications of crystal skull controversies extend to issues of cultural appropriation and the exploitation of indigenous cultures through manufactured mysterious objects that claim connection to their ancestral traditions. Authentic indigenous artifacts deserve protection from conflation with modern commercial productions. Scientific techniques applied to crystal skull analysis continue advancing with new analytical methods, providing increasingly detailed information about manufacturing processes, age determination, and provenance assessment. These technological developments improve abilities to distinguish authentic ancient objects from modern reproductions. International collaboration among museums has facilitated comparative analysis of crystal skulls, while sharing research results that contribute to scholarly consensus about their origins. These cooperative efforts advance archaeological methodology while providing public education about scientific approaches to authenticity assessment. The psychological appeal of crystal skulls reflects broader human fascination with mystery, ancient wisdom, and objects that seem to bridge different historical periods. Understanding these psychological factors helps explain why debunking scientific evidence doesn't necessarily eliminate popular belief in ancient origins. Conservation science applied to crystal skulls addresses preservation challenges while enabling continued research without damaging objects that possess historical significance regardless of their actual age. Advanced imaging techniques allow detailed study without invasive sampling or handling that might compromise physical integrity. The market for crystal skulls continues despite widespread scientific debunking, with collectors and spiritual practitioners maintaining interest in objects they believe possess special properties. Understanding these markets helps archaeologists address public misconceptions while respecting diverse cultural approaches to material objects. Educational outreach programs use crystal skulls to teach broader concepts about archaeological methodology, scientific analysis, and critical thinking skills needed to evaluate extraordinary claims. These educational initiatives emphasize process over conclusions while promoting scientific literacy and cultural understanding. Future research directions include continued analysis of crystal skulls using advancing analytical techniques, historical investigation of manufacturing origins, and broader studies of how authentic archaeological objects become confused with modern reproductions in museum collections and popular culture. The legal aspects of crystal skull ownership and display involve questions about cultural heritage, repatriation claims, and the responsibilities of institutions that house objects with disputed authenticity. These legal considerations affect museum policies and collecting practices that aim to protect legitimate cultural heritage. Comparative analysis with authentic pre-Columbian crystal objects reveals significant differences in manufacturing techniques, artistic styles, and cultural contexts that distinguish genuine ancient artifacts from modern crystal skulls. These comparisons provide educational frameworks for understanding authentic indigenous artistic traditions. The role of crystal skulls in contemporary spiritual and New Age practices represents a separate cultural phenomenon from their archaeological significance. Understanding these contemporary uses helps separate historical questions about origins from current cultural meanings and practices. As we examine these enigmatic crystal objects under controlled laboratory conditions, we encounter intersection of modern craftsmanship, historical mystery, and scientific methodology that illustrates both human creativity and the importance of rigorous evidence evaluation. The crystal skulls remind us that distinguishing between authentic heritage and modern reproduction requires careful analysis that respects both scientific standards and cultural significance. Chapter 19. The Copper Scroll Treasure. Imagine yourself in the caves of Qumran near the Dead Sea, where archaeologists in 1952 discovered what would become one of the most enigmatic documents of the ancient world. Among the famous Dead Sea Scrolls lay a unique copper scroll, its oxidized metal surface bearing inscriptions that describe vast treasures hidden throughout the ancient landscape of Palestine. The copper scroll, designated 3Q15 in scholarly catalogues, differs dramatically from other Dead Sea Scrolls both in material and content. While most scrolls were written on leather or papyrus containing religious texts, biblical manuscripts, or community rules, this document was inscribed on thin copper sheets that had corroded together over nearly 2 millennia. The process of opening and reading the scroll presented unprecedented conservation challenges. The copper had become too brittle to unroll using traditional methods, requiring innovative techniques developed specifically for this unique artifact. Scholars cut the scroll into strips using precision saws, revealing the Hebrew and Aramaic text inscribed on the interior surfaces. The content proved even more extraordinary than the unusual material. Rather than religious teachings or scriptural commentary, the scroll contains a detailed inventory of treasure locations throughout Palestine, listing enormous quantities of gold, silver, and sacred vessels hidden in caves, tombs, and underground chambers across the region. The treasure descriptions are remarkably specific, providing directional instructions, landmark references, and precise quantities that suggest practical knowledge rather than symbolic or literary content. Entries describe talents of gold and silver hidden beneath specific buildings, buried near identifiable geographical features, or concealed in named locations that scholars have attempted to identify. Conservative estimates of the described wealth reach astronomical proportions by ancient standards. Hundreds of tons of precious metals and thousands of valuable objects that would represent the treasury of a major temple, royal court, or wealthy institution. The scale suggests institutional rather than individual wealth accumulation. Dating analysis places the scroll's creation in the 1st century CE, possibly between 50 and 100 CE, during the turbulent period of the First Jewish War against Rome, when many Jewish communities faced destruction and might have hidden treasures to preserve them from Roman confiscation or military devastation. The language and paleographic features of the scroll show characteristics consistent with other Dead Sea Scrolls, suggesting creation within the same general community or time period. However, the content's focus on treasure locations rather than religious teaching sets it apart from other Qumran documents. Attempts to locate the described treasures have yielded minimal success, despite decades of searching by archaeologists, treasure hunters, and enthusiasts. The geographical references often prove ambiguous. Archaeological landscapes have changed dramatically over 2 millennia, and many described landmarks no longer exist or cannot be definitively identified. Some scholars propose that the treasure descriptions represent literary fiction rather than actual hidden wealth, suggesting the scroll might be a work of imagination, a training exercise for scribes, or a symbolic text using treasure metaphors to represent spiritual concepts rather than material objects. Alternative theories suggest the treasures represent temple assets hidden during periods of political instability, possibly the Jerusalem temple treasury concealed when Roman forces threatened the sacred precinct. The quantities described would be consistent with institutional temple wealth accumulated over generations through religious donations and offerings. The specific locations mentioned in the scroll span a wide geographical area throughout Palestine, including sites in Jerusalem, Jericho, the Jordan Valley, and various wilderness locations. This distribution suggests either extensive knowledge of regional geography or access to information from multiple communities or institutions. Archaeological investigation of suspected treasure locations has employed advanced survey techniques, including ground-penetrating radar, magnetometry, and systematic excavation at sites that seem to match scroll descriptions. These investigations have uncovered various archaeological remains, but no treasure hoards matching scroll descriptions. The absence of discovered treasures raises questions about their current existence, original accuracy, or accessibility. Treasures might have been recovered in antiquity, destroyed by natural processes, remain undiscovered in locations that can't be accurately identified, or never existed as described in the document. Technical analysis of the copper scroll itself provides insights into ancient metalworking techniques, inscriptional practices, and document preservation methods. The copper sheets were hammered thin, inscribed using punches or chisels, and carefully prepared to create a durable document intended for long-term preservation. The choice of copper as writing material suggests special significance for this document compared to other scrolls written on organic materials. Copper's durability and cost indicate that the contents were considered important enough to justify the expense and effort required for metal inscription. Conservation efforts have focused on preserving the cut scroll segments while enabling continued study of the inscriptions. Advanced imaging techniques reveal previously illegible text portions, while digital documentation creates permanent records of the fragile metal surfaces. Language analysis reveals dialectical features and vocabulary choices that provide insights into the scroll's authorship and cultural context. The Hebrew and Aramaic usage shows characteristics consistent with Second Temple period Jewish communities, while including technical terminology related to weights, measures, and geographical descriptions. Comparative studies with other ancient treasure lists and inventories from Mediterranean cultures reveal common features in how ancient peoples documented hidden wealth. Similar documents from Egyptian, Greek, and Roman contexts show parallel concerns about treasure concealment during periods of political instability. The relationship between the Copper Scroll and other Dead Sea Scrolls remains debated, with questions about whether it originated within the Qumran community or represents external material that came into their possession. The content's secular nature contrasts sharply with the predominantly religious focus of other scroll materials. Modern treasure hunting activities inspired by the Copper Scroll have created both archaeological opportunities and conservation challenges. While some searches have contributed to archaeological knowledge about ancient Palestinian settlements, others have caused damage to archaeological sites and endangered cultural heritage resources. The cultural impact of the Copper Scroll extends beyond archaeological circles to influence popular culture, adventure literature, and tourism in the Dead Sea region. The document's treasure map characteristics capture public imagination while generating economic interest in exploration and discovery activities. Legal questions surrounding potential treasure discoveries include ownership rights, cultural heritage protection, and the responsibilities of various national and international authorities in regulating treasure hunting activities. These legal frameworks attempt to balance legitimate research with heritage conservation requirements. Educational programs about the Copper Scroll emphasize both its historical significance and the broader methodological issues it raises about evaluating ancient documents, distinguishing between factual and fictional content, and understanding the complex motivations that led ancient peoples to create such unusual records. Digital humanities projects have created searchable databases of Copper Scroll content while developing geographical information systems that attempt to correlate ancient location descriptions with modern topography. These technological approaches advance research while making scroll contents accessible to broader scholarly communities. The theological implications of the Copper Scroll for understanding Second Temple period Judaism include questions about temple finances, community wealth management, and religious attitudes toward material possessions during times of crisis. These aspects contribute to broader understanding of ancient Jewish social and economic organization. Recent archaeological discoveries in the Dead Sea region continue providing context for understanding the Copper Scrolls' historical setting. Excavations at Qumran, nearby caves, and related sites reveal aspects of community life that might illuminate the circumstances surrounding the scroll's creation and deposition. Climate change research affecting the Dead Sea region includes studies of ancient environmental conditions that might have influenced treasure concealment decisions and location accessibility. Understanding past climate patterns helps evaluate the feasibility of described hiding places and their current archaeological potential. International collaboration in Dead Sea Scroll research includes specialists working on various aspects of the Copper Scroll, while sharing analytical techniques and interpretive frameworks. These cooperative efforts advance understanding while ensuring proper conservation and study of these irreplaceable documents. The philosophical questions raised by the Copper Scroll encompass the nature of ancient record-keeping, the relationship between material and spiritual values in religious communities, and the ways crisis situations influence human behavior regarding wealth preservation and community survival. Future research directions include continued analysis of the scroll's language and content, improved geographical correlation techniques, and broader comparative studies with other ancient documents that address treasure concealment and institutional wealth management during periods of political instability. As we examine this unique metal document under specialized lighting that reveals the ancient inscriptions, we encounter tangible connection to human concerns that transcend historical periods, the desire to preserve valuable resources during uncertain times, and the hope that careful record-keeping might enable future recovery of hidden wealth. Chapter 20: The Georgia Guidestones Phenomenon. Picture yourself traveling through the rural landscape of Georgia, USA, where in a field outside the small town of Elberton stood one of the most mysterious modern monuments ever erected. The Georgia Guidestones, completed in 1980 and destroyed in 2022, represented a unique intersection of anonymous patronage, apocalyptic philosophy, and granite craftsmanship that generated decades of speculation about their creators' identities and intentions. The monument consisted of 4 vertical granite slabs arranged around a central pillar, topped with a capstone, creating a structure nearly 20 feet high and weighing over 230,000 pounds. The construction employed traditional stoneworking techniques executed with modern precision, creating a monument built to withstand time and natural disasters for thousands of years. Inscribed on the monument's faces in 8 languages — English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian — were 10 guidelines for humanity that the anonymous sponsors believed should govern human civilization in the aftermath of a global catastrophe. These messages presented a philosophical framework for rebuilding society based on sustainability, rationality, and reduced population. The guidelines themselves proved controversial from the monument's dedication, advocating for maintaining global population under 500 million, guiding reproduction to improve genetic fitness, protecting nature and biodiversity, ruling with reason and justice, avoiding petty laws and officials, balancing personal rights with social duties, prizing truth and beauty, promoting international cooperation, and avoiding being a cancer on the earth. The monument's creation story began in 1979, when a man identifying himself only as R.C. Christian approached Elberton Granite Finishing Company with plans for the structure. He claimed to represent a group of concerned Americans who wished to leave guidance for future generations, paying in cash and maintaining complete anonymity throughout the construction process. The astronomical features of the monument demonstrated sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics and surveying principles. The structure included a hole aligned to show the North Star, a slot that framed the sun's position at summer and winter solstices, and a capstone aperture that allowed sunlight to illuminate a vertical slot marking noon throughout the year. These astronomical alignments required precise calculations and careful construction to achieve accuracy over long time periods. The monument's creators clearly intended it to function as a calendar, an astronomical instrument, as well as a philosophical statement, suggesting technical knowledge and planning that extended beyond simple monument construction. The choice of location in rural Georgia reflected practical considerations including proximity to high-quality granite quarries, relatively stable geological conditions, and central accessibility within the continental United States. The site's isolation also ensured minimal interference with the monument's intended function as a long-term beacon for future civilizations. The linguistic choices for the inscriptions revealed assumptions about global cultural and political development that reflected late 20th century geopolitical realities. The selection of 8 languages attempted to represent major world populations, while practical constraints limited the number of languages that could be accommodated on available inscription space. Public reaction to the monument proved intensely polarized from its dedication through its destruction. Supporters viewed it as a thoughtful attempt to provide wisdom for future generations facing potential civilizational collapse, while critics interpreted the population guidelines as promoting genocide and the astronomical features as occult symbolism. The monument attracted various conspiracy theories attributing its creation to secret societies, global elites, or organizations allegedly promoting world population reduction. These theories reflected broader cultural anxieties about government control, population planning, and anonymous wealthy donors influencing public policy through private initiatives. Vandalism and protest activities targeted the monument regularly throughout its existence, with critics viewing it as representing dangerous ideologies or threatening religious beliefs. Graffiti, physical damage, and protest gatherings demonstrated ongoing local and national controversy surrounding the monument's messages and symbolism. The anonymity of the sponsors remained intact throughout the monument's 42-year existence, despite numerous investigations by journalists, researchers, and conspiracy theorists attempting to identify R.C. Christian and his associates. This sustained anonymity represents a remarkable achievement in an era of extensive documentation and digital surveillance. Various theories about the sponsors' identities included connections to eugenics advocates, environmental activists, wealthy philanthropists, religious groups, or government agencies pursuing undisclosed agenda related to population control or social engineering. None of these theories gained convincing evidential support despite extensive speculation. The monument's astronomical functions worked effectively throughout its existence, accurately marking seasonal changes and celestial events as intended by its designers. These features demonstrated that the creators possessed genuine knowledge of astronomy and surveying rather than simply creating decorative symbolism. Educational use of the monument encompassed both its philosophical content and its technical features, with some educators using it to teach about astronomy, linguistics, philosophy, and monument construction. However, the controversial nature of its messages limited its adoption as an educational resource in many contexts. Tourism to the monument generated economic benefits for Elberton while creating ongoing management challenges for local authorities. Visitors ranged from curious tourists to dedicated researchers to protesters, creating diverse demands on local infrastructure and law enforcement resources. The monument's destruction in 2022 through bombing ended decades of controversy, while creating new mysteries about the perpetrators' motivations and methods. The attack occurred during a period of increased political polarization that may have influenced someone's decision to destroy rather than simply criticize the monument. Preservation efforts prior to destruction had focused on maintenance of the granite surfaces and astronomical features while documenting the inscriptions and structural details. High-resolution photography and three-dimensional scanning preserved detailed records of the monument for historical research despite its physical destruction. The cultural impact of the Georgia Guidestones extended far beyond their physical presence to influence discussions about anonymity, philanthropy, monument construction, and the ethics of leaving messages for future generations. The monument's existence raised questions about private citizens' rights to create public statements using permanent structures. International attention to the monument reflected global interest in questions about population, sustainability, and governance that the inscriptions addressed. The multilingual inscriptions attracted visitors and researchers from various countries interested in the monument's philosophical and technical aspects. The legal framework surrounding the monument's creation, maintenance, and destruction illustrates various aspects of American property law, free speech rights, and local governance authority. The monument's private ownership on private land complicated efforts to regulate or remove it despite public controversy. Academic analysis of the monument encompassed fields including philosophy, linguistics, astronomy, art history, and religious studies. Scholars examined both the content of the guidelines and the methods used to create and promote the monument, providing various interpretive frameworks for understanding its significance. The environmental philosophy embedded in the guidestones reflected late 20th century concerns about overpopulation, resource depletion, and environmental degradation that motivated various sustainability movements. The monument's messages attempted to address these concerns through specific recommendations for future human organisation. Comparative analysis with other modern monuments and philosophical statements revealed both unique features of the Georgia Guidestones and common themes in 20th century efforts to create lasting statements about human values and future directions. Similar projects exist worldwide, though few achieved comparable notoriety or controversy. The monument's relationship to American religious and political culture reflected broader tensions about secularism, population ethics, and the role of anonymous wealthy donors in public discourse. The controversy illustrated how philosophical statements can become lightning rods for broader cultural conflicts. Documentation projects that emerged after the monument's destruction include efforts to preserve its memory through digital recreation, scholarly analysis, and artistic interpretation. These projects ensure that future researchers can study the monument's significance despite its physical absence. The question of whether similar monuments should be created or preserved raises ongoing issues about anonymous public art, controversial philosophical statements, and the balance between free expression and community standards. The Georgia Guidestones experience provides precedents for addressing these complex questions. Future research on the monument's legacy includes continued investigation of its creators' identities, analysis of its cultural impact, and study of its role in various conspiracy theories and political movements. These investigations contribute to broader understanding of how anonymous monuments function in democratic societies. As we reflect on this destroyed monument and the decades of controversy it generated, we encounter questions about humanity's relationship with future generations, the ethics of anonymous public statements, and the challenges of creating lasting philosophical guidance in increasingly polarized societies. Chapter 21: The Hessdalen Lights Investigation. Picture yourself in the remote Hessdalen Valley of Norway, where since the 1940s residents have reported mysterious lights appearing in the sky with such regularity that the phenomenon has become the subject of one of the world's longest-running scientific investigations into unexplained aerial phenomena. Here, in this sparsely populated mountain valley, an automatic monitoring station continues documenting luminous events that challenge conventional understanding. The Hessdalen lights manifest in various forms, including stationary lights lasting from seconds to hours, moving lights travelling at different speeds and altitudes, and brief flashes that appear and disappear almost instantaneously. Witnesses describe colours ranging from yellow and white to red and blue, with some reports of colour-changing phenomena and structured objects rather than simple points of light. The phenomenon gained systematic attention in the early 1980s when increased frequency of sightings prompted formation of Project Hessdalen, a scientific investigation led by Norwegian researchers including engineer Erling Strand. The project established instrumented observation stations and conducted intensive field studies attempting to document and analyse the mysterious lights using rigorous scientific methodology. Initial investigations employed various detection and recording equipment including cameras, radar systems, spectrum analyzers, and magnetometers designed to capture objective data about the light phenomena. The systematic approach aimed to distinguish between genuine anomalous events and conventional explanations such as aircraft, atmospheric phenomena, or terrestrial light sources. Early results confirmed that unusual luminous events do occur in the Hessdalen Valley, at frequencies significantly above baseline expectations for conventional aircraft or known natural phenomena. Multiple independent sensors recorded correlated data suggesting the presence of physical phenomena rather than instrumental errors or observer misperception. The automatic monitoring station established in 1998 represents one of the most comprehensive long-term studies of unidentified aerial phenomena ever undertaken. The station operates continuously, recording various electromagnetic and optical parameters while maintaining data archives that span decades of observations. Spectroscopic analysis of recorded lights has revealed unusual emission spectra, including spectral lines from various elements such as silicon, iron, and scandium. These measurements suggest the presence of highly energized gases or plasma formations rather than simple reflected or transmitted light from conventional sources. Electromagnetic measurements have detected radio frequency emissions correlated with visual sightings, indicating that the phenomena produce electromagnetic fields in addition to visible light. These measurements help distinguish between genuine physical events and optical illusions or atmospheric effects that wouldn't generate such electromagnetic signatures. The geographical context of the Hessdalen Valley includes geological features that some researchers propose might contribute to light generation through piezoelectric effects, underground electrical activity, or other geophysical processes. The valley contains various mineral deposits and lies in a tectonically active region that could potentially generate unusual electromagnetic phenomena. Atmospheric conditions in the valley, including temperature inversions, humidity patterns, and local weather systems, have been studied as possible contributing factors to unusual optical effects. However, the consistency of phenomena across various atmospheric conditions suggests that weather alone cannot explain all reported observations. Battery and electronic equipment malfunctions reported by visitors and researchers in proximity to light events suggest possible electromagnetic interference effects. These reports, while anecdotal, indicate that the phenomena might generate electromagnetic fields strong enough to affect nearby electronic devices. Scientific theories proposed to explain the Hessdalen lights include plasma formation through atmospheric electrical activity, combustion of gases escaping from underground sources, electromagnetic effects from geological processes, and interactions between local magnetic fields and charged particles from various sources. The plasma theory suggests that electrical activity in the atmosphere or ground could ionize gases and create luminous plasma formations that would exhibit many of the observed characteristics, including mobility, color variations, and electromagnetic emissions. Natural plasma formation requires specific conditions that researchers continue investigating. Combustion theories propose that underground gases, possibly including hydrogen or other flammable substances, could escape through fissures in bedrock and ignite under certain conditions. This would explain luminous phenomena while accounting for the valley's specific geological characteristics that might promote gas accumulation and release. Electromagnetic theories focus on possible interactions between local magnetic fields, geological formations, and external energy sources that could create conditions for unusual light generation. The valley's mineral content and geological structure might create conditions that amplify or focus electromagnetic energy in ways that produce visible phenomena. International collaboration in Hessdalen research includes scientists from various countries contributing different expertise and equipment to the ongoing investigation. This collaborative approach helps ensure objectivity while bringing diverse analytical techniques to bear on the persistent mystery. The database of recorded events maintained by Project Hessdalen includes thousands of observations spanning decades, providing unprecedented documentation of a localized unexplained phenomenon. Statistical analysis of this database reveals patterns in timing, location, and characteristics that inform theoretical models about possible causation mechanisms. Skeptical analysis of the Hessdalen data emphasizes the importance of eliminating conventional explanations before invoking unusual theoretical mechanisms. Critics note that some recorded events might result from aircraft traffic, atmospheric phenomena, equipment malfunctions, or other conventional causes that systematic analysis could identify and exclude. The methodology employed in Hessdalen research emphasizes objective measurement over subjective observation, automated recording systems over human testimony, and peer review of results rather than sensationalized presentation. This scientific approach distinguishes the investigation from less rigorous approaches to unexplained phenomena. Recent technological advances have enhanced the monitoring station's capabilities through improved sensors, higher resolution imaging systems, and more sophisticated data analysis techniques. These upgrades enable more detailed characterization of recorded phenomena while maintaining continuous long-term monitoring. Environmental monitoring in the valley includes measurement of various parameters that might correlate with light phenomena, including seismic activity, electromagnetic field variations, atmospheric electrical activity, and meteorological conditions. This comprehensive approach seeks to identify environmental triggers or correlates for unusual events. The tourism impact of the Hessdalen lights includes visitors attracted by the prospect of witnessing unexplained phenomena though the remote location and unpredictable nature of events limit large-scale tourism development. Educational tourism programs attempt to present the scientific investigation process while managing visitor expectations about observation opportunities. Educational outreach associated with Hessdale research emphasizes scientific methodology, critical thinking, and the importance of systematic investigation in addressing unexplained phenomena. The project serves as a case study in how scientific approaches can be applied to anomalous observations, while maintaining rigorous standards for evidence evaluation. Media coverage of the Hessdale phenomenon ranges from sensationalized presentations that emphasize mysterious aspects to scientifically informed reporting that focuses on research methodology and measured results. The long-term nature of the investigation provides opportunities for more nuanced media treatment than brief sensational stories. The psychological aspects of witnessing unexplained phenomena include the impact on observers' worldviews, memory formation, and interpretation of ambiguous sensory experiences. Understanding these psychological factors helps researchers evaluate testimony while designing investigations that minimize observer bias and maximize objective documentation. Comparative analysis with other locations worldwide where similar phenomena have been reported reveals both unique aspects of the Hessdale events and common features that might suggest similar causation mechanisms. These comparative studies help distinguish between location-specific factors and more general physical processes. The technological applications of Hessdale research include advances in remote sensing equipment, automated data collection systems, and analytical techniques that have broader applications in atmospheric science, geophysics, and electronic instrumentation. The investigation has driven innovation in monitoring technology while addressing the specific challenges of documenting transient phenomena. Conservation concerns for the Hessdale Valley include protecting the research site from interference, while maintaining access for legitimate scientific investigation. The balance between preserving natural conditions and accommodating research infrastructure requires careful management of human activities in the area. Future research directions include continued monitoring with upgraded equipment, expanded theoretical modelling of proposed mechanisms, and broader geographic surveys to identify other locations with similar phenomena. International cooperation may enable more comprehensive investigations using resources and expertise from multiple institutions. The philosophical implications of the Hessdale investigation encompass questions about how science addresses genuinely anomalous phenomena, the relationship between theory and observation, and the criteria for accepting or rejecting unusual explanations for observed events. The long-term study provides insights into how scientific methodology evolves when confronting persistent mysteries. Climate change research includes investigating whether changing environmental conditions might affect the frequency or characteristics of unusual phenomena in locations like Hessdale. Understanding relationships between atmospheric conditions and anomalous events could provide insights relevant to both local phenomena and broader environmental changes. As we stand in this remote Norwegian valley under the aurora-lit sky, surrounded by the sophisticated monitoring equipment that continues its patient watch for mysterious lights, we encounter one of science's most systematic approaches to investigating unexplained phenomena while maintaining the rigorous standards that distinguish genuine scientific inquiry from speculation and wishful thinking. Chapter 22. The Coral Castle Engineering Mystery. Picture yourself walking through the gates of Coral Castle in Homestead, Florida, where one of the most puzzling engineering feats in American history stands as testament to individual human determination and ingenuity. Here, between 1923 and 1951, a single man named Edward Leedskalnin quarried, carved and assembled over 1,100 tons of coral rock into an intricate complex of walls, towers, furniture, and astronomical instruments using methods that remain mysterious nearly a century later. Edward Leedskalnin, a Latvian immigrant who stood only 5 feet tall and weighed about 100 pounds, accomplished this massive construction project entirely alone, working primarily at night and maintaining strict secrecy about his methods. The scope of his achievement becomes even more remarkable when considering that he moved and positioned individual stones weighing up to 30 tons using only simple tools and without modern machinery. The construction materials came from local coral rock, technically oolitic limestone, which Leedskalnin quarried on site using basic hand tools including chisels, hammers and various improvised implements. The coral rock, while relatively soft when quarried, hardens significantly when exposed to air, creating durable construction material that has withstood decades of Florida weather and hurricanes. The precision of Leedskalnin's work demonstrates remarkable understanding of stone cutting, moving, and positioning techniques. Individual blocks fit together with minimal gaps, despite weighing several tons each, while decorative elements show sophisticated carving skills that transformed utilitarian construction into artistic achievement. The most puzzling aspect of the construction involves the methods Leedskalnin used to move and position massive stones without conventional lifting equipment. Neighbours occasionally reported seeing lights in the quarry at night and hearing sounds of work in progress, but no one ever witnessed the actual stone-moving techniques that enabled one small man to handle multi-ton blocks. Leedskalnin claimed he had discovered the secrets of pyramid construction and understood how ancient Egyptians moved massive stones, but he never revealed specific techniques to anyone. His cryptic statements about understanding the relationship between magnetism, electricity, and gravity have inspired decades of speculation about unconventional engineering methods. The astronomical features integrated into Coral Castle demonstrate sophisticated knowledge of celestial mechanics and precise surveying capabilities. Leedskalnin created a functioning sundial, a Polaris telescope aligned to the North Star, and various astronomical markers that accurately track seasonal changes and celestial events. The 9-ton gate that visitors pass through represents one of the most impressive examples of Leedskalnin's precision engineering. The massive coral slab rotates on a central pivot so perfectly balanced that it can be moved with finger pressure, demonstrating mastery of leverage principles and mechanical advantage that rivals modern precision engineering. Engineering analysis of Coral Castle has revealed sophisticated understanding of leverage, counterbalancing, and mechanical advantage that would challenge modern engineers working with similar constraints. The construction techniques, while mysterious in their specific execution, clearly employed sound engineering principles to overcome seemingly impossible physical limitations. The tools found at the site after Leedskalnin's death included various improvised implements, block and tackle systems, tripods, and other simple mechanical devices that provide clues about his methods, while failing to fully explain how he accomplished the massive stone movements that neighbours never witnessed. Photographic documentation of the construction process is limited because Leedskalnin maintained strict privacy about his work methods and rarely allowed visitors during active construction periods. The few existing photographs show completed structures but provide minimal insight into the construction techniques used to create them. Scientific investigation of Coral Castle has included structural analysis, archaeological survey, and engineering studies attempting to reverse engineer Leedskalnin's construction methods. These investigations have eliminated some theoretical explanations while confirming the remarkable precision and sophistication of the achieved construction. The electromagnetic theories promoted by some researchers suggest that Leedskalnin might have used unconventional electromagnetic principles to reduce the effective weight of stones or create levitation effects. However, no credible evidence supports these theories, and conventional physics indicates they would be impossible using available technology. Mechanical engineering analysis suggests that Leedskalnin's achievements, while remarkable, fall within the bounds of what could theoretically be accomplished using sophisticated applications of leverage, counterweighting, and mechanical advantage combined with exceptional skill, patience, and physical conditioning developed through years of practice. The hoisting equipment that Leedskalnin constructed included various tripod systems and pulley arrangements that could multiply applied force while enabling controlled movement of heavy objects. These mechanical systems, combined with careful planning and exceptional technique, could potentially explain the stone-moving achievements without requiring unconventional physics. The quarrying techniques used to extract individual stones show evidence of systematic planning and skilled craftsmanship that minimized waste while maximizing the utility of available material. Leedskalnin's ability to visualize final products while quarrying raw stones demonstrates sophisticated three-dimensional thinking and construction planning. The artistic elements integrated into the utilitarian structures reveal aesthetic sensibilities and symbolic thinking that transcended purely functional construction goals. Leedskalnin carved chairs, tables, beds, and decorative elements that transformed the complex into both fortress and artistic statement. The structural engineering of Coral Castle reveals sophisticated understanding of load distribution and foundation principles that enabled the massive structures to remain stable, despite Florida's challenging geological conditions. Leeds-Kalnin constructed his foundations to distribute weight across broad areas while accounting for the region's sandy soil composition and high water table. The defensive capabilities built into Coral Castle's design reflect Leeds-Kalnin's concerns about security and privacy during construction. The high walls, strategic positioning of gates, and restricted access points created an effectively fortified compound that protected both the builder and his mysterious construction methods from unwanted observation. Modern preservation efforts at Coral Castle face unique challenges because traditional restoration techniques may not be appropriate for structures created using unknown methods. Conservators must balance historical preservation with structural stability while avoiding interventions that might compromise the integrity of Leeds-Kalnin's original engineering solutions. The magnetism experiments that Leeds-Kalnin conducted at Coral Castle included various electromagnetic devices and demonstrations that he used to illustrate his theories about fundamental forces. While these experiments never revealed the construction secrets visitors hoped to discover, they demonstrated his genuine interest in electromagnetic phenomena and unconventional physics theories. The construction timeline reveals that Leeds-Kalnin's work pace accelerated significantly during certain periods, suggesting that he had developed increasingly efficient techniques through years of practice and experimentation. The most massive structures were completed during his most productive construction phases, indicating mastery of methods that had been refined through trial and error. The psychological aspects of Leeds-Kalnin's achievement reflect extraordinary mental discipline and sustained motivation that enabled him to work alone on a massive project for nearly 3 decades. His ability to maintain focus on long-term goals while working in isolation demonstrates remarkable psychological resilience and unwavering commitment to his vision. The economic factors surrounding Coral Castle's construction show how Leeds-Kalnin supported his project through admission fees, pamphlet sales, and occasional consulting work, while maintaining minimal living expenses that allowed him to dedicate maximum resources to construction materials and tools. The legacy of Coral Castle extends beyond its mysterious construction methods to influence contemporary discussions about individual achievement, unconventional problem-solving, and the relationship between determination and seemingly impossible goals. Leeds-Kalnin's story demonstrates how sustained effort and creative thinking can overcome extraordinary physical and financial limitations. The engineering education value of Coral Castle provides inspiration for students and professionals interested in mechanical advantage, leverage principles, and creative problem-solving approaches to construction challenges. The site serves as a practical demonstration of how fundamental engineering principles can be applied in unconventional ways to achieve remarkable results. The tourism impact of Coral Castle generates ongoing economic benefits for the local community while raising awareness about individual achievement and engineering innovation. Visitors from around the world come to witness firsthand what one determined person accomplished, using methods that continue to challenge conventional understanding. The research opportunities presented by Coral Castle attract engineers, archaeologists, and physicists interested in reverse engineering historical construction techniques and testing theories about unconventional building methods. Ongoing studies may eventually reveal the specific techniques that enabled Leeds-Kalnin's remarkable achievements. The cultural significance of Coral Castle in American folklore demonstrates how extraordinary individual achievements capture public imagination and inspire speculation about the limits of human capability. Leeds-Kalnin's story has become part of the broader narrative about immigrant determination and the pursuit of seemingly impossible dreams. The architectural elements of Coral Castle blend functional engineering with artistic expression in ways that create structures serving both practical and aesthetic purposes. Leeds-Kalnin's carved furniture, decorative walls, and sculptural elements transform utilitarian construction into environmental art that engages visitors on multiple levels. The geological considerations that influenced Coral Castle's construction required Leeds-Kalnin to work within the constraints and opportunities presented by local coral rock formations. His ability to visualize finished products while quarrying raw materials demonstrates sophisticated understanding of stone characteristics and construction planning. The mystery surrounding Coral Castle ultimately serves as a reminder that individual human achievement can sometimes transcend conventional explanations and inspire wonder about the limits of determination, skill, and creative problem-solving. Whether Leedskalnin's methods involved undiscovered techniques or simply represented masterful application of known principles, his legacy continues to challenge assumptions about what one person can accomplish through sustained effort and unwavering commitment to an extraordinary vision. In the end, Coral Castle stands not merely as an engineering puzzle to be solved, but as a monument to human persistence and the power of individual vision to transform impossible dreams into enduring reality. Edward Leedskalnin's achievement reminds us that the most remarkable human accomplishments often emerge from the combination of determination, skill, and the willingness to work towards seemingly impossible goals without regard for conventional limitations or popular skepticism. Closing reflection. As our journey through these ancient mysteries draws to a close, we find ourselves contemplating the remarkable tapestry of human achievement, ingenuity, and enduring questions that these archaeological enigmas represent. From the massive stone blocks of Baalbek to the intricate gears of the Antikythera mechanism, from the undeciphered scripts of lost civilizations to the geometric precision of the Nazca lines, we have explored genuine puzzles that illuminate both the capabilities of our ancestors and the ongoing nature of human discovery. These mysteries share profound commonalities that transcend their geographical and temporal diversity. Each represents sophisticated understanding of engineering, astronomy, mathematics, and artistic expression that challenges simplistic narratives about human progress as linear advancement from primitive beginnings to modern sophistication. They reveal that innovation, creativity, and the drive to create lasting achievements have always been fundamental aspects of human nature. What makes these enigmas truly fascinating isn't what they might reveal about supernatural intervention or lost advanced civilizations, but what they demonstrate about the remarkable capabilities that humans have always possessed when knowledge, skill, determination, and social organization combine in pursuit of ambitious goals. Each mystery represents dialogue between past achievement and present understanding, where modern scientific methods gradually unveil the ingenuity of ancient minds working within their technological and cultural contexts. The archaeologists, linguists, engineers, and researchers who study these sites embody the same curiosity and determination that drove their ancient counterparts to create these remarkable achievements. Advanced imaging reveals hidden chambers in pyramids, computer analysis finds patterns in undeciphered scripts, new excavation techniques uncover evidence of sophisticated ancient technologies, and interdisciplinary collaboration combines diverse expertise to illuminate complex historical phenomena. These investigations remind us that human knowledge remains always provisional and continuously growing. Previous generations of scholars who thought they understood ancient capabilities have repeatedly given way to humility as new discoveries reveal how much more our ancestors achieved than was previously recognized. Each breakthrough builds upon careful, methodical investigation, guided by scientific principles rather than speculation or wishful thinking. The persistence of these mysteries also illuminates important aspects of the scientific process itself. Genuine mysteries require genuine evidence and rigorous analysis to distinguish between authentic, archaeological puzzles and modern misconceptions. The most compelling ancient achievements are those that can be documented through careful excavation, measured through precise analysis, and understood through systematic comparison with known historical and technological contexts. Modern technology continues expanding our analytical capabilities, while archaeological methods become increasingly sophisticated in extracting information from ancient materials. Ground-penetrating radar reveals buried structures, chemical analysis identifies trade relationships and manufacturing techniques, DNA studies illuminate migration patterns and cultural connections, and digital modeling enables virtual reconstruction of ancient technologies and architectural achievements. Yet technology alone cannot solve these mysteries. They require human insight, cultural understanding, and appreciation for the historical context in which ancient achievements occurred. The most successful archaeological investigations combine advanced analytical methods with deep knowledge of ancient cultures, recognition of technological constraints and possibilities, and respect for the intelligence and creativity of past civilizations. The greatest mystery revealed by our exploration isn't any specific puzzle about lost knowledge or hidden capabilities. but rather the fundamental continuity of human nature across vast spans of time. The same curiosity that drives modern scientists to study ancient mysteries drove ancient builders to create them. The same problem-solving abilities that enable contemporary engineering also enabled ancient architects to move massive stones and create precise astronomical alignments. In studying these achievements, we discover that the capacity for innovation, artistic vision, and technical mastery represents constant elements of human potential rather than modern developments. Ancient Greeks possessed intellectual capabilities equal to our own, working within different technological constraints, but guided by identical drives for understanding, achievement, and lasting contribution to human knowledge. The mysteries we've explored tonight also remind us that human civilization represents collaborative achievement spanning millennia, where each generation builds upon foundations established by predecessors, while adding their own contributions to ongoing human knowledge. Ancient engineering techniques inform modern construction methods. Historical astronomical observations contribute to contemporary understanding of celestial mechanics, and traditional mathematical insights continue influencing current scientific research. Perhaps most importantly, these ancient mysteries demonstrate that wonder and curiosity remain essential aspects of human experience that connect us across temporal and cultural boundaries. The same sense of awe that modern visitors feel when contemplating the Nazca lines inspired their ancient creators. The same desire to understand cosmic patterns that motivates contemporary astronomers drove ancient Greeks to build mechanical calculators for predicting celestial events. As you prepare for rest, let these ancient achievements speak to the enduring human qualities they represent rather than supernatural explanations they don't require. The builders of Göbekli Tepe, the scribes of undeciphered manuscripts, the engineers who moved massive stones, all possess the same fundamental human capabilities that continue driving discovery, innovation, and achievement in our own time. These ancient mysteries also serve as bridges between disciplines, demonstrating how archaeology, engineering, astronomy, and linguistics must converge to unlock the secrets of the past. The Antikythera mechanism required not just archaeological recovery, but also mechanical engineering analysis, computer modelling, and historical astronomy to reveal its true sophistication. Similarly, understanding megalithic construction involves geology, physics, anthropology, and materials science working in concert to appreciate the full scope of ancient achievement. The educational legacy of these mysteries extends far beyond academic circles, inspiring countless individuals to pursue careers in science, archaeology, and engineering. Students who first encounter these puzzles in childhood often find themselves drawn to technical fields, motivated by the same sense of wonder that originally drove ancient builders to create these remarkable achievements. Museums, documentaries, and educational programs continue spreading this inspiration, ensuring that curiosity about human achievement remains alive across generations. The preservation of these ancient sites represents ongoing responsibility that connects us directly to our ancestors' work. Each mystery we've explored faces modern threats from development, environmental change, tourism pressure, and the simple passage of time. Our generation serves as temporary custodians of achievements that took lifetimes to create, carrying responsibility to protect these irreplaceable records of human ingenuity for future investigators who may finally solve puzzles that have challenged researchers for centuries. Looking forward, the next decades promise revolutionary advances in archaeological investigation as artificial intelligence, quantum sensors, and other emerging technologies provide unprecedented analytical capabilities. The mysteries that seem impenetrable today may yield their secrets to tomorrow's researchers, just as recent technological advances have illuminated achievements that previous generations could only admire without fully understanding. Yet even as these puzzles find solutions, new mysteries will undoubtedly emerge, ensuring that the dialogue between human curiosity and ancient achievement continues enriching our understanding of what it means to be human across all times and cultures. Sleep peacefully, knowing that the greatest mystery isn't what secrets these ancient sites might hide, but how human creativity, determination, and intelligence continue connecting us to remarkable achievements spanning the entire history of our species. The ancient world continues teaching us about human potential, one careful scientific discovery at a time. Sweet dreams, Fellow explorers of human achievement, tomorrow brings new opportunities to learn, discover and appreciate the remarkable story that these ancient mysteries help us continue writing together.